when Jade started coming down, Bianca had a look and she started taking her jacket off. Like she was sealed in the cage, but she immediately started getting ready to go. And I was like, ooh, are we getting a swerve? Like, Naomi's the obvious one. But might we get a swerve last minute? Buddy! Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen! We are so bleeping back, baby! Yes, indeed, the Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Monday, ba-da, ba-da-da-da. So good to be here with all of you for the four most electrifying hours in sports talk entertainment you're going to find anywhere at any point in time. Auto radio. I am Rob Brown, the great one. Lonzo on the ones and twos, prepped and ready to have a day today on the show. I am the hype! Feels that way, don't it? Feels that way. You'll appreciate this great one. I got a call on Saturday night. I guess a text on Saturday night at, I don't even know what o'clock, like 11 o'clock at night. And it was a producer for Sean Marash, who is on WFAN in New York City. Now, he works for the BetMGM network. I've co-hosted a couple of shows with him on the net. But he's of the big names on the network. He's at the top. It's like him and Nick Kostos, right? It's like him, Kostos, Decker, the other 15 hosts, and then me down at the bottom. And
hey, at least you're on the list, man.
I am on the list. It does feel good. But I'm at like the bottom of the list. That being said, I am regularly called in to do spots on all these different shows. I've got a weekly spot on Tuesday night on BetMGM Tonight, nationally syndicated. I am regularly brought on every show except their morning show for obvious reasons. Because most of the hosts like that if it's a boring-ass Tuesday afternoon, you throw Rob Brown on there, you're going to get a little electricity, a little gas, a little hype. I am the hype. So, that being said, it's Sean Marash and Pat Boyle. And you guys have heard Pat. Pat's been on this show before. Pat's also on WFAN. You've heard Pat Boyle. He does the Sports Flash updates during the Rich Eisen show. He and Carlos with a K, Carlos Ortiz, alternate. Both big deals in the game. So Marash and Boyle are hosting, and I get a text at like 11:30 Saturday night from their producer. This is a show that I've only been on once or twice, and it was guest hosting both times. But I get, hey, bud, it's the producer from Marash and Boyle tomorrow. Any chance you could come on the show? I was like, yeah, man, like I'm happy to do it, but
I know where this is going, but
why?
Yeah.
And they said because neither of the boys are big wrestling guys, and the Cena heel turn has been dominating social media for the last 2 hours. We need somebody on, and there's nobody that's going to, quote, carry that segment, end quote, like you will. Will you do it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I get up Sunday morning. I do the segment with Marash and Boyle. We're like 5 minutes in, and Sean Marash, noted not a wrestling guy, is like, all right, lay it out for those of us who don't follow wrestling. Like, why is this such a big deal? So I gave the whole spiel and talked about, this is a guy who's been a face since I was effectively in high school, and we never thought he was going to turn, blah, blah, all the real stuff. We get to the end of the interview, and Pat Boyle, who is the other host of the show, is, playing me out. Hey, that's Rob Brown, host of Bet for the Cycle every Saturday, noon to 4. Also the host of The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate in Greenville, South Carolina, at The Rob Brown Show on Twitter. I'm using this to promote myself on my own show. And he goes, and noted lifelong wrestling fan. And he, stops for a second. And I'm like, this isn't a place I would ordinarily talk. Am I supposed to say something? And he goes, Rob Brown, I just figured you out. And I said, what do you mean, figured me out? And he goes, your whole show is wrestling. Your energy is wrestling. Your promotion is wrestling. Your character is wrestling. He's like, I just realized that all your monologues are, as you nerds would put it, cutting promos. And I really wanted to be offended for a second.
Duh.
But then I realized I'm not, because it's true. I'm not, because it's true. He's absolutely right.
All right, so was he saying that in a cutting way?
No,
Or
I
is
don't think
he-
it was. I don't think it was in a cutting way. I think it was, this is a cat because of me, Ryan Horvat, and about 3/4 of the production staff. There's a good, decent little wrestling crowd on the BetMGM network. But the people who aren't in, Decker, Marash, Boyle, they're the type of dudes that, like, if you don't like wrestling, that's fine, but like, shut up and leave us nerds alone, okay? Like, let people enjoy what they enjoy. These guys are the guys that are going to go there and they're going to rag wrestling fans. And what they have all learned is that I'm a live and let live dude until you start being a butthole about something I like, and then I'm coming for you, right? Then I'm cutting promos and I'm coming for you. And it's kind of led to like this little Avengers Civil War storyline within the BetMGM network. And Boyle's not really in it. Like, he could take it or leave it. He doesn't really care. But I think it was more watching him have the revelation that all the best art takes its cues from wrestling. All the best art takes its cues from wrestling.
And
It's great.
there's hardly a radio show on the air anywhere that doesn't use some sort of wrestling phrase.
Yeah.
I mean,
even the people who say they don't
Yeah.
definitely do. You want to be the man? You got to beat the man. Where do you think that comes from? The cream rises to the top. Where do you think that comes from? I mean, it's all wrestling. All right. Speaking of wrestling.
By the way, friend of the show, R-Truth is not taking this.
He is not well. He's not well.
Someone needs to check on him. Welfare check.
Yeah. I may be calling our WWE contact and be like, hey, I'm not calling to book R-Truth. I'm just calling to check on him. Like, this is just it's a welfare check. I'm not calling to ask for him back on the show. I'm not calling to ask anything of him. Is my guy okay?
As someone whose childhood hero was Hulk Hogan when the turn happened, I understand what R-Truth is going through since Cena was his childhood hero.
My favorite thing was Brandy Rhodes tweeting out, John Cena is a bleep hole, and Truth going, we need to get all the facts first. Like, can we hang on? Can we get all the facts? Oh, it was absolutely great. All right, we got a lot we got to get into today on the radio program. The NFL Draft Combine took place through the weekend. There were some highs and there were some very lows. Like every pass that Will Howard threw. That's not a shot because Will Howard's a Buckeye, sorry. He just...
Hey, Shedeur Sanders already came out and defended him on X. He's still going to get drafted.
He is going to get drafted.
Here's what he's going to do. He's going to have a pro day with his receivers. I was thinking about this on the way in. This is probably proof that Rob Brown is right about how good you can look when you are surrounded by talent. Even though the guy,
look at me.
Even though the guy
me.
on before us was saying that Ohio State bought the talent, whatever, dude.
I'm sorry, they did what? They followed every rule and broke none to get there and build a roster and did the thing that everyone else in college football is welcome and able to do. That's what they did.
Didn't spend as much as other teams, by the way. They were like
third. Didn't we determine?
Yeah, they
or
were
second or third.
They were not first. But he will go do his pro day with those prolific receivers, and he'll look good. And he'll go somewhere in a late round and be a backup somewhere.
Fourth, by the way, projection. Fourth.
Okay.
Late third, early fourth.
It was bad, but
it was real bad.
It was bad, but I mean, Shedeur defended him, so he's good. Yeah.
This is why last week,
as Shedeur said, that man just won a national championship. You need to cut him some slack.
That is why last week when Shedeur Sanders said, I will be there, I will do the interviews, I will do the medicals, but I am not going to work out, I came on this very microphone, looked into that very camera, and said, get off Shedeur Sanders' ass because he can't do anything but hurt himself. Will Howard had more room to help himself than Shedeur did because I think he came into this probably looking to be like a mid-second to mid-third round guy, and he left being a mid-third to an early fourth-round guy based on that workout. It just didn't go well. This is why I've said the combine is not just a job interview, but the combine can help you as much as it can hurt you if you're a mid-round guy. It can help you more than it hurts you if you're a late-round guy. If you're a guy that's like, maybe he's a 6th, 7th guy, maybe he's a UDFA that gets picked up after the combine or after the draft is over, obviously the combine can't really do much to hurt you if you're not a draftable pick or you're right there on the borderline. If you're a mid-round guy and you go in there and you have a great workout, you know who had a great workout? You know who I think helped himself? Quinn Ewers from Texas. Quinn was dropping dimes, throwing darts. You know who? Actually, I'll tell you who I think.
Kyle McCord didn't look bad either.
Kyle McCord didn't look bad either. I'll tell you who I think, honestly, may very well be a shock pick in the NFL draft in round number 1. Not that I didn't think he was already going to be a first-round draft pick. I got 2 guys that I think are now going to be in the top half of the first round that maybe weren't going to be before the combine. Nicky Manwari from South Carolina and Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. Jackson throwing dart was spot on. Jackson Dart went in there and handled business. Now, again, let's be clear. You do not draft on workouts. You draft on tape. What the combine is for. The combine is to show what the absolute top of your potential is. What are you physically capable of? Nobody has ever won or lost a football game based on their ability to jump 31 inches straight up in the air. But that can tell you a lot about how you're built, how you perform. So when Cam Skattebo, a guy that is going to be drafted, I honestly have no idea where, but when Cam Skattebo goes and he pops off like a 31.75-inch vertical, what you're saying there, because again, nobody's ever won or lost a football game by getting into a vert off with the best jumper from the other team. But what it does do is talk about the explosivity in the quads, yeah? It shows how much force, how much pop you can generate. For a running back, that's a big deal. We talked about the 40 time. We're going to talk about this later. Isaiah Bond from the University of Texas, y'all, said he was going to come out and he was going to break Xavier Worthy's 40 record. Said he was going to run a 4.2. He definitely did not. Ran a 4.4. But
that's still pretty fast, but
it's super fast.
Yeah.
In fact, here's what's fun. He had, if I believe, Zoe, the 5th or 6th fastest 40 time of this year's wide receivers.
Someone ran like a 4.38.
Yep, there was like a 4.38. There was a couple of 4.3, I think a 4.39, a couple of 4.4s. His was like a 4.42, whatever it was.
No one beat that record, though.
No one beat that record. Here's the fun thing. Isaiah Bond, and this is why Alonzo loves to play the nerd clip. I accept it. Not only do I accept it, but I enjoy it. The reason I like the nerd clip is because you can learn things from numbers. In fact, data is how you learn things. Here's my favorite thing about Isaiah Bond. About the 5th or 6th fastest 40 time. But he did have the fastest obtained mile per hour, top speed within the run. So it's the old quick versus fast conversation, right? There's quick, which is this dude's off the ball, he gets to a high rate of speed, but he can't sustain it. Or there's fast, which is maybe I'm not quick to get up to speed, but once I'm at speed, my top speed is faster than anybody else's top speed. And it's not just about that conversation. It's about, does a coach realize that, and understand how to utilize that wide receiver within that? You know why Xavier Worthy is so scary in the offense? It's the reason Xavier Worthy had a faster 40 time than Isaiah Bond. In terms of top speed, when they are at their top MPH, Isaiah Bond is actually right there with Xavier Worthy. The difference is Xavier Worthy has such a bang, fast first step out of the blocks when the beep goes off. He is at his top speed faster than Isaiah Bond is. So Now that impacts how I want to use that guy on the outside. If I know that Xavier Worthy gets to his top speed faster, not only is his top speed faster than everybody else, but he gets to it faster. Xavier Worthy now becomes a more valuable receiver in those 5, 7, 10-yard route trees than Isaiah Bond does. But if I know that, if I give Isaiah Bond 5, 6, 7 yards to get to his top speed, and he is faster than any other wide receiver in this draft, which he was. He had the fastest top speed in the draft. Not the fastest 40, but the fastest top speed. You know how I use an Isaiah Bond? He's not as valuable to me on a 5 and in cut. That break, bang, get to the top speed, that's more Xavier Worthy. Isaiah Bond now becomes not an X receiver on the outside, but a wide receiver on the offside. That guy that every play is running a 7 or a 9. I need every DB to know this guy doesn't have the acceleration that Xavier Worthy has, but he's got top end speed. His top end speed is as fast as Worthy. So what am I using him for? I'm using him on a 3 or a 5 or a 7-step drop passing scheme. When my quarterback takes that 5th step back, by that point, now I know that Isaiah Bond's at a top speed that is faster than anybody in the league except Xavier Worthy. So now all of a sudden, his 7 and 9 is as scary as anybody else's. This is what the combine's for. It is not just to say, oh, Cam Scatterby jumped 31.5 inches. Isaiah Bond only ran a 4.4. How pathetic. It's to be able to evaluate these numbers more in depth and determine how they're going to fit into exactly what you do. So, yeah, Robbie B watched a lot of combine this weekend. You know what else he watched? The Clemson Tigers dropped the broom on the South Carolina Gamecocks. 3-0 sweep in the Palmetto series of Diamond Baseball. We're going to talk about that. We got some NBA, some NFL, some NHL, some MLS, some MLB. Oh, it's going to be a busy day on the show. Let's have a little fun, shall we? I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show starts now on the Fan Upstate. Jacob, what's up, big dog? Kane, welcome in.
Correct
Your
me
boy,
if I'm
Eamon
wrong,
Mori,
Rob
was a
Brown,
stud.
But the show actually started 17 and a half minutes ago. I mean,
Like now we really get into it.
okay,
You know?
all right, fine.
That was a little, what do they call the?
Hors d'oeuvre?
Yeah, but there's like an even fancier word. Something bouche. Amage bouche. Moujambin.
All right, who are they? French people?
No, really fancy people.
Okay, French people.
French people. Be right back. Give me 30 seconds. Ooh. Smooth operator. I'll pull up the text line. The text line. Remember me, though I have to go away, remember me. didn't stretch this morning. It's killing me.
Can you stand back up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to write the second, though.
Okay. I can come around and help you if need be. So I'm just checking.
I was flipping around some pods this weekend. And Channing Crowder does a pod with Ryan Clark.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling this story. He said, I was in a discussion with my daughter because she called me old. And I was like, I still got it. And he said, I did a toe touch to prove I can still do a toe touch. And he goes, I did the toe touch. Then I landed. Because he came out onto the podcast stage and he was like wheeling himself in a chair. Ryan Clark's like, why are you rolling around in a chair? And he's like, I messed up. Spartanburg J gets the text line started off this AM at 844-326-3663. That's the number to call the show and be on the air. That's the number to text the show and get your text read on the air. Jay said, good morning, on the road again, Odyssey app on. Clemson sweeps, you suck, and John Cena heel turn. What a weekend. Have a great week. Spartanburg Jay, appreciate that, big dog. Good to hear from you this AM. All of you are welcome. Nay, encouraged to be a part of the show. 844-326-3663 to call or to text. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, great one.
Oh, it's okay. I just wanted to say.
I mean, I kind of feel after they played 3 and won 3 that they get a bit of a reprieve from that.
Was this some sort of championship?
It is the only time that these two teams will play each other, so they sweep a 3-0 series.
Maybe you can't say that.
Well,
for
unless
sure.
they both end up in Omaha. But based on, I am sorry to say, what I saw out of the Gamecock baseball program, Paul Maneri's got some work to do. The bats were ice cold.
How many games do they play in college baseball?
A lot.
Do they?
A lot. There's a lot between here and Omaha.
Okay, all right.
Lot between here and Omaha. However,
well, I'm glad that a team that lost to another team in football gets a chance to gloat about baseball. Good for you.
I mean, listen, I know.
Now take your victories where you can find them. Sometimes they're hard to find.
56, by the way.
Yeah, 56 games.
56 regular season games
all
includes non-conference, conference, midweek, and weekend series games.
So they're, what, a fourth? A little over a fourth through the
Yeah,
through
right
the
at,
season?
I think
Yeah.
South Carolina is, 7-3, and Clemson's now 10-1. So they're checking in at just a tick under.
Not according to what you wrote.
Whatever I wrote, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
What I write?
9-3.
Yeah, that's right.
And then 10-1.
Yeah, I was right on one of the two.
Okay.
I was two off in total. That's pretty good.
Okay.
All right.
So 11 or 12 games.
That's like a
depending on what team you
6%
are.
margin of error, which I got to tell you is pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, no, it's here's what I saw. What I saw was, first off, an opportunity for a couple of guys like Nolan Naraki, who transferred from Clemson to South Carolina, to have big moments, and they didn't. And they did. And again, I'm not gonna hang the season for South Carolina on these 3 games, but they're the only 3 games that the Gamecocks have played against a quality opponent, and they got dog-walked. They lost at Clemson Friday. They lost in Greenville Saturday. They lost at, and the other part is, and this is one of those times where even Rob Brown, who does his best to live in a world of logic and reason and not emotion, is still going to have emotional moments. You got smoked at Clemson. You got smoked at Floor. You went back to the crib down 0-2, and they came in and dog-walked you on your own diamond. Like, you can't play that way on Sunday when you've already dropped the series, because what it looks like to me is this isn't a well-gelled team. This isn't a team that I can trust when Sundays roll around late in the season and we're starting to talk about who is going to regionals, who is traveling to regionals, who is hosting regionals. If Clemson's going to not just get you, but they're going to get you like that, it is going to be a long year in the Southeastern Conference.
So wait. So you're doing a Braves panic on South Carolina this early in the season?
You've played 3 games against the top-tier team. You lost. You didn't just get beat all 3. You got beat all 3 games, including being down 0-2, going back home, and watching your fans leave the building in the 8th because they gave up on you. Yeah. I mean, it is one thing, great one, when you lose. Losing happens. It's sports. If losing didn't happen in sports, sports would be boring. It is another thing to look like you have waved the white flag and surrendered. And to your rival on your diamond at your crib, nah, that ain't it, Chief. That ain't it. Now, again, I think it is important to remember that we are talking about a first-year head coach in Paul Mainieri. We are talking, but remember the other thing I said, which was, yeah, the guy had a lot of success at LSU down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He is a legend down there in the bayou, for sure. He's also on the wrong side of 70 years old. And he's coming into a place he just got to. He's coming into a place where he did not have a big relationship, did not have a relationship at all with the guys on the squad. And this is the type of conversation that I've had with y'all in the past of, if I'm a college AD, I am not, and this is gonna draw some ire, I'm not hiring old guys. I'm not doing it, respectfully. And it's not because old guys can't do it, but it's because old guys don't just, and this is not bad. I'm 40, and I'm an old guys now. Old guys don't have the ability to communicate on the level with 17 and 18 and 19-year-olds in a way that allows you to create what I think is the relationship necessary between coaches and players to get that team gelled together.
So what's the age limit? I mean, what
I don't know. I'm not going to put one on it because I don't know.
If you're 35 and you turn 36, you just immediately have to resign because you can no longer relate?
No, but I think
okay.
I think it's one of those things where I would say it's pretty clear to me that a 35-year-old is going to have an easier time communicating with the 19-year-old than a 73-year-old is. That's just part of it. And again, I like Paul Mainieri. This is not a personal shot.
Maybe these kids like playing for their grandpa.
I could be wrong. You might be right.
It could be.
But based on what I saw the last 3 days, nope. Because on Sunday, down 2 games, series already over. That trophy is going to Clemson for a year. Down 2 games, they go to Columbia.
Do they actually have a trophy?
I don't believe so, but I don't know for a fact.
Okay.
I don't believe there is. There should be. There should be. College baseball is the best.
I didn't know that. I just didn't think baseball did that the way football does, but I could be wrong.
Listen, it's Clemson, South Carolina. They'll turn a rivalry out of tiddlywinks if you let them.
Historically, at least in the last decade, has there been a domination by one side or the other in this series?
Not that I am aware of. But I'm not, again, this is one of those spots where, and I don't mean to kick legs out from what you're saying, I don't care about anything but 2025.
Well, I'm just saying I don't think this is that unusual. That's all.
Here's what I know. When I got here.
If you want to celebrate, let your mighty tiger roar. I mean, if that's what you want to do, if you're a fan out there. I wasn't talking about
What do you mean if you want to celebrate? You just kick their ass 3-0.
Wow.
Of course I'm going to celebrate if I'm a Clemson Tiger. I think they've earned a reprieve from the kitty cat sounder is all I'm saying. Because they whooped
Good thing you're not the arbiter.
that ass. I don't know, man. That was a Sunday game. I was on Friday, had a bunch going on. On Friday, checked in and out of their game on Friday. Saturday, I was obviously working Bet for the Cycle on the BetMGM network, which you can hear every every Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetMGM network with myself and former Major League Baseball player Cody Decker. I was doing the show with him on Saturday, and so I kind of had that game on in the background because that game started at 1. So I was checking in and out, and it just never looked like Carolina was able to get anything going. I will also see this. In the parts of the game that I did watch, this game was the best argument for robo-umps I've had in years. My God, the umpiring was awful in this game. Not even subjectively, but no. It was bad. I have never seen Gamecock and Tiger fans be on the same page like I was for how bad the umpiring, the balls and strikes in this game
It wasn't one-sided. It was just bad all the way around.
It was bad all the way around. I was watching guys.
So then it was fair.
No, it wasn't fair because if you throw a strike, it's a strike, and if you throw a ball, it's a ball, and that's fair, and nothing else is.
If it's bad for everybody, then no one got better treatment. So it's kind of fair.
We'll come back to this. We'll come back to this because if I start down that path, it's just all we're talking about for the rest of the hour, and I don't want to do that to the people. I'm a man of the people.
That's right. Yeah, focus back on Clemson because
and South Carolina. Actually, if you want to be honest, we've been focusing on South Carolina. Because Clemson did what I thought Eric Bakich and Clemson was going to do. They were very good from the bump, and they put the ball in play. 8 hits yesterday on the road, limited to South Carolina to just 5. This is a spot in a Sunday game where I would have expected a South Carolina team to go, we're down 2 games to none. We've already lost the series. Can we at least protect this house, click-clack? Can we at least click-clack and protect this house? And the answer was no. Couldn't get anything going from the plate. I don't know if they just weren't seeing the ball well, which if you're not seeing the ball well in your own stadium, you're in trouble. You're in trouble because the SEC on the road is good. It's good. If you're not seeing the ball well in your own stadium, what are you going to do when that loser from Vanderbilt is whistling in your ear every time you step into the box? I can't whistle, but just imagine that I could. That's what the guy sounded like. It's awful. What are you going to do on the road? If Clemson got you like that, I went from not even a week ago, 4 days ago, looking at this team and going, okay, they've won every game they're supposed to win. They're winning them confidently. They're winning them comfortably. I think there's a chance the baseball natty could have both teams from the upstate of South Carolina involved. The Gamecocks and the Tigers could very well both be in Omaha this year. 2, there's a lot of work to do in Columbia, South Carolina. A lot of work to do. If that is the performance you turn in on a Sunday, not seeing the ball, not protecting the plate, making mistakes with guys in scoring position, that ain't it, Chief. Like, that's not going to do it for me. So, again, I'm not going to blame it on this because I don't yet know that it is the problem. But it did not feel to me like there was any urgency in this baseball team on Sunday for South Carolina. It did not feel like, and I don't like using this word because I think it has such an emotional connotation to it that I think sometimes people utilize it to take advantage of others. It's like when you call Marty McFly chicken and he starts acting like in a way that Marty McFly wouldn't ordinarily work, right? You call a guy chicken and all of a sudden, bark, 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 bark. Now, well, that's pretty good chicken. Now, all of a sudden, you can get them to start acting certain ways they wouldn't ordinarily work. Why? Because you went after their pride a little bit. I don't like to use this because I feel like it adds an emotional connotation to the conversation that isn't really all that necessary. But you're down 0-2, you're getting worked. You go back to your crib in Columbia and you lay that down in Game 3. I don't want to put it all in this basket right now. But if in this game, in that spot, that's what Paul Mainieri's going to get out of that club with that much talent on it, could be a long year. Could be a long year. That's not the Dodgers sweeping the Guardians. That's not a bad pick. The Guardians are a good team. That's not the Dodgers sweeping the White Sox. That's the Dodgers sweeping the Braves. Like, you're supposed to at least be competitive, and you laid down in your own house when you already lost the series. Like, I don't want to put it on Mainieri. It's very early in his tenure in Columbia, but that ain't the start I'm looking for. Texter said, the fan, Tigers get the state sweep for the 3rd time in 4 years. Bakich is the guy. I agree. Eric Bakich is a guy out there with his shirt off dancing on the hill with the Savannah Bananas that the boys in purple and orange line up behind, and you can see it.
3rd time in 4 years means this is not unusual. South Carolina's still got a pretty good season ahead of them.
Correct, but people were also complaining about the hire of the last guy in the dugout, too. So maybe there's a deeper problem as far as picking baseball coaches for Ray Tanner. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Thank you, Jacob. You get it. Do you feel me?
I don't know. I don't know if that's actually a thing you want to ask.
Not this early in the morning. Do you want to go to the women's basketball game Friday at noon?
I would love to, but
Okay. I'm going to put in a presser for it.
here's the reason. It's physical problems.
Sure.
It's
No,
not,
I understand.
Yeah.
No worries. I'm going to put in for press passes for it today.
Also, most importantly, I have to babysit, so I can't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I can't.
Well, you can bring her.
She might like it, but no, that would not work. By the time I got home, got her, got back.
Okay. I just wanted to check before.
I know. I appreciate the offer.
Yeah.
And I haven't. I've seen the men play. I've never got to see the women play. I've been to the NCAA tournament when it was there, like I don't know, a decade ago or something. That was pretty cool. I got to sit underneath.
It is cool.
I got to. We sat in the underneath the basket, and when the other team would have people there, we'd move to the other side and go underneath, and no one stopped us. It's like, okay, we're on the court watching, and Greg McKinney's like, let's go sit on the court. I was like, aren't we going to get in trouble? He's like, we'll see.
Don't know until you find out.
We'll see, and we never did. I think it was Radakovich when he was there.
Yeah.
Is he still there? I don't know if he's still there.
He's at Miami now.
Yeah, he was 2 seats down, and Greg was like, tell him how Clemson sucks. He's like, go ahead. I was like,
Go ahead.
You really want me to? Because if I do, we're getting kicked out. He knew I wouldn't do it, but still. I don't know, Zach sounds kind of shaky. Because I bet that camera probably shakes in the car the whole time. I think I've seen some of that.
It's awesome. You're right. I did not watch it that way, but I watched Atlanta that way, and it's a blast. Texter says, let's see, it's Spartanburg J texting the show at 844-326-3663. He says, Alonzo, the Clemson versus USUck is the best rivalry in college baseball. Also, if JD or other USUck fan celebrates their victory, you're cool, but Clemson sweeps and we shouldn't, then you wonder why I personally give you grief. Guess what? Our men's basketball team has a chance to make a real run this year, too. Fans are going to celebrate, or should we not celebrate because the football team didn't win the college football playoff?
By the way, I'd love Texas, especially Spartanburg J, who's on there all the time. But when you have to say you suck or Clem suck or something like that, you lose me when you do that. Because that puts you in that group of people.
You literally call them that school up north.
That puts you in that group of people that do I ever say they suck? They won a national championship 2 years ago.
You won't even say their name.
I say Michigan all the time, dude. Anyway, whenever you put suck in the thing, that puts you in, you're one of those crazy people who show up and want to fight people because they say stuff on the radio. And that always never made sense to me. back in my younger days, people showing up wherever I was wanting to fight me because I said something against Clemson. I hope you're not one of those, but you sound like you are when you got to put that in everything that you say. I guess other people who are fandom or fans of whoever you're rooting for, when you say that, go, got him.
Slay. Slay.
I don't care. That's what rivalries are for, and I'm all in. Call them you suck.
I just, I
hearing
mean,
it.
you know.
I don't think that calling them you suck is any worse than dropping the kitty cat sounder on them every time you say Clemson.
It's definitely more creative. Nobody else in the upstate's doing it because everybody else is scared.
I mean, again, I'm just saying I don't think it's any different. I think it's the same thing.
Well, often you're wrong.
Go yourself.
I got to fix the quality. That is such a good bite, and
Yeah,
it sounds
but-
like crap.
Dude, I don't know. That one's kind of risky.
I don't disagree. That's why they call me Rob Living on the Edge Brown. They don't call me that. Nobody calls me that.
Do they call you
Literally,
that?
no
That
one
is
calls
not
me
going to
that.
fit on a jersey.
No one's gonna call me that. All right, we got. I don't mind it. I think that especially
By
in
the way,
rivalry.
Jay, it's all wrestling, dude. I mean,
It's all
be
wrestling.
a fan however you want to be.
Cut promos, baby. It's what we do. I don't care. It's rivalry games. It's fine. If you wanna send me a text with a P in the word Clemson, have at it. If you want to refer to him as you suck, have at it. I don't care. Have at
I've
it.
worked with Uber fans, and if you, there was one certain person I worked with for a really long time. If you put a P or a Z in there, he would get so angry, and it's like, okay, stop getting angry, and I'll stop doing it. I mean, no one see, and it was on the call screener, so no one saw it except for him.
I genuinely want to hear this morning from South Carolina fans specifically. Clemson fans, obviously, your opportunity to get up in here, talk a little smack, run that junk a little bit because you earned it. But South Carolina fans, because I popped on.
Yeah, South Carolina fans should be jumping. Did you see what the women's team did to the Clemson women's team? No, because no,
Is this a college baseball area or not?
it is
Okay.
for sure.
And I'm not asking that out of like any kind of way. Like I'm curious.
It's football and baseball for sure. It is. Basketball is kind of like but it's football and baseball.
Because I love college baseball. I had this conversation with, hilariously, Cody Decker's not. Like, he played college baseball at UCLA.
It's
He
a
was
good
a
point,
Bruin.
Wesley. By the way, it's a very good point.
Deck, not a big baseball guy. Jay Kassan, one of my other coworkers on the BetMGM
So wait a
network,
minute.
and I,
Wait a minute. A guy who played college baseball
not a
is
fan.
not a.
Yeah, can't stand it. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. I just think it's a dumb reason.
Well, that's kind of
He
weird.
didn't like it. I do. I love college baseball. I have said before, I genuinely believe college baseball has the best postseason in American sports. I think college baseball has the best postseason in American sports. I stand by that. Always have.
And we're
always
usually
will.
represented really well in this area. Not only South Carolina and Clemson, but Coastal usually is in there a bunch.
Coastal
too.
won a title a handful of years ago. You've got, Appy State's popped up in Omaha a couple times
Who?
out of North Carolina.
Oh,
Appalachian
so we're
State.
talking about South Carolina.
The Carolinas.
No. We're talking about South
two,
Carolina.
We're two states, one name.
Can we be
So
heard
I've
in
been
North
told.
Carolina? Well, only online, but I mean, still, whatever, North Carolina.
Carolina fans.
Sorry.
Sorry.
It's Tepper. Okay? Screw you, Tepper.
Never a bad time for that.
You take the team out of
No, you know what?
So
Wait,
don't
wait,
use
wait,
the
wait, wait,
moniker
wait.
anymore.
Wait.
All right, fine. Just go away.
I'm gonna say totally understand taking training camp out of the Berg and bringing it back
I
up to
don't.
Charlotte.
I don't.
I do, but that aside for a second, we do have to acknowledge David Tepper for the past 365 days has been a better owner, though, right?
I don't care.
We got to give him
I don't
credit
care.
for
He
that.
took the team away from South Carolina, is what he did.
I mean, I would take the team from Spartanburg to Charlotte, but if you're winning me football games and the team's getting better, okay, so what?
Do you really
I'd rather
think
have a
you're
good football
pointing
team.
the right direction?
I don't know. Have we not established that? I'm directionally challenged. I'm gonna tell you right now, if the zombie apocalypse happens and my GPS goes away, I am bleeped, dude. I'm screwed if that happens. All right, but I have to. If I'm going somewhere, I gotta memorize how to get there. Because if you're like, all right, go east, I'm like, all right, hang on. I will let you know where east is when the sun comes up. Give me like 30 more minutes, and I'll be able to tell you which way east is. All right. South Carolina baseball fans, Where you at? How we feeling this AM after getting swept by the in-state rival? How we feeling dropping all 3 in the Reedy River rivalry? How we feeling about that? Because it shouldn't be good, like at all. It shouldn't be good. It's not that you lost, because that's a good baseball team that Clemson's put together. When I say good baseball team, Clemson's going to Omaha this year.
Also, you're saying they're a great baseball team.
I'm saying they're a very good baseball team. They're going to Omaha this year.
Don't you have to be great to go to Omaha?
Baseball's weird. We're going to talk about this later in the show. Baseball's weird because I think there are a lot of times when very good teams beat great teams. Especially, again, college baseball, I think, has the best postseason in sports because there is a lot of heightened manufacturing drama. There is a lot of advantage that goes to teams that perform. If you are hosting a regional, you are in a better spot than a team that has to go play in it. But it's not a 7-game series to move on. It's double elimination in the regional, double in the supers, and then double when you get to Omaha. A good team, a great team in baseball can lose 2 in a row. Like, that's the difference between Major League Baseball and college baseball is, I think, way more often than not, the best team in Major League Baseball wins a series. Way more often than not, the best team wins, specifically when we go on to the longer series, the 5 and the 7 game series in Major League Baseball. In college baseball, everything's double elimination. And so there's a lot of times where a very good team, a great team, can easily drop 2 games in a row. Now, if a great team drops 2 in a row, but there's still 3 or 5 more in a series, they still got a real good chance to come back and win that thing. A little pressure on them, but it can be done. You drop 2 in a row in the postseason in college baseball, you're cooked, you're out, you're done, you're going home. And so when I look at this series, which is, as Lonzo astutely pointed out, not a championship series, not for a ticket to Omaha, now not for a ticket to a regional, not for a super regional. It is just an early season 3-game set against your biggest rivals. When you completely bleep the bed like South Carolina did, I get concerned. Now, we got MD75 in the chat who said, "You suck fan here. I'm okay with taking my medicine on this. I am willing to give the new coach time to fix this team, but if we're not winning games that matter by year 3, I'm out." That's 2 years from now, man. Like, I get it. And I think, if anything, this is this weird. I had this conversation with a friend of the show, Joey B, on Saturday. We all went out for a couple of brewskis on Saturday afternoon. And we were talking about Clemson basketball, right? We were talking about Brad Brownell. 15 years in charge of that program. And Joey B said, as this team made a run to the Elite 8 last year, this team still has an outside shot, likely not to happen, but an outside shot to win the ACC regular season title. They will be a team on the bye in the ACC tournament. Like, they're in a good spot right now to make another run. And Joey B said, you know what's interesting about the success over the last 3 years of Brad Brownell is that if you started Brad Brownell's career today, there's no shot he's making it this long to get it right. Man, that man made it, 12 years he had to kind of figure it out. Now, obviously, it's a different story because for a very long time, at least the way it was put to me, I've only been here 5 years now, but the way it was put to me is basketball really wasn't a priority for Clemson for a very long time. So basically, when they hired a basketball coach, it was kind of like, yeah, go over there. Go over there and run the program. We'll be over here with Dabo and Tommy and whoever else. We'll be over here with the football program trying to get them right. You go take care of the thing nobody cares about, and we'll be over here putting the resources into football. And Joey B said, if Brad Brownell started the career at Clemson the way he started it, like a North Carolina, a Wake Forest, a Vanderbilt, a school in a different conference that cared about basketball, he never would have made it long enough to put together last year's Elite 8 team, to put together a team that this year, I was talking with, on Saturday's show, talking with a couple of bracketologists who said, watch out for Clemson as a dark horse. They have all the metrics. It doesn't necessarily show up in a way that blows you off the stat sheet when you look at their in-season statistics. He said, but if you look at just the metrics, if you look at basketball like a nerd and you just look at the metrics, there is a series of Ken Palm numbers that, like,
Who the heck is Ken Palm?
if you don't know what Ken Palm is, it's too late in the college basketball season for me to try to explain it to you now. I'll get you set for next year.
Is that a guy? Is that what's it?
The Ken Palm rankings are a series of metrics that are put together by a guy, but he's kind of like the guy when it comes to this, right? And 11 of the 12 last national champions all fall within a series of these metrics in terms of offensive efficiency, offensive ratings, defensive ratings, etc. There's, I believe, 6 teams this year that meet the annual Ken Palm ratings of teams most likely to win a natty, and Clemson is one of those teams. Again, there's not anybody that blows you off the page. You look at Ann Shefflin, who is the gel of that team, the leader of that team, and if I showed you a picture of Ann Shefflin without his Clemson basketball jersey on, you just think he's some frat bro from Clemson. But he's a dog. And that's what Brad Brownell's put together. But it took him 12 years to get to that spot. And if he was at a Kentucky or an Indiana or a Duke or a Michigan State, he never would have gotten that time. But he got that time because he was at Clemson, a place where up until a handful of years ago, basketball was kind of an afterthought. Here's the thing with Paul Mainieri at South Carolina. Baseball's not an afterthought in Columbia. I was watching yesterday on social media. The wife and I decided, hey, lazy Sunday. We haven't had a Sunday fun day where we didn't put pants on in like 6 weeks. So lazy Sunday fun day. She's like, I'm going to go marathon watch every episode of when Jeff Goldblum was on Law & Order. And I was like, great. I'm going to be in the bro cave with all 4 TVs working. I got NASCAR, I got NBA, I got NHL, I got college baseball. I'm in here, right? And as I'm watching all these games on Sunday and watching the race, by the way, we got to talk Circuit of the Americas. That was a damn good NASCAR race. We'll come to that later. As I'm watching all of this and I'm scrolling through social media, the Gamecock fans went from a lot of noise going into the weekend to not a word about baseball yesterday. Not a word about it. And that's my experience, that's unusual. I'm used to seeing our boy Q and in Garnet We Trust and all these different South Carolina people that I follow across social silent, right? And so I want to compare it to what happened with Clemson baseball and Brad Brownell or Clemson basketball. Give them time. Sometimes, especially when you're doing it a little bit different than the model, it takes a little time to develop. But South Carolina, from what I understand, puts an emphasis on baseball. And if you're getting not just beat, right? This wasn't like a couple of 5-4, Clemson got a clutch hit down the stretch, whatever. You got your ass beat in your own house. You got smoked in your own crib. And if you're getting hammered in your own crib when you've already lost 2, one at Clemson, one in Greenville, and now you go back home with a chance to at least salvage one and to do it on your own diamond, in your own house, and you fall flat on your face like that. Like, yes, I'm going to give Paul Mainieri time. This is not me, sitting here slamming the Atlanta Braves panic button yet. What I am saying is, even if the baseball's not great, like, I expect to see some fight. I expect to see a little pride. I expect to see you defend this house, protect this house, clack. And I didn't see it. It looked like by the 6th or 7th inning, this team laid down for Clemson. And that's a disappointment. It is one thing if you lose. It is another thing if I'm tuning in to a game that I'm going, okay, today's the day. They got to pull it together. And I see that. That's where I get a little bit, did we jump the gun? I understand Mainieri had accolades. He's also on the wrong side of 70. Is that really the guy you think is going to pump some energy into the program? I don't know, man. I don't know. Now, a guy who is definitely not on the wrong side of 70. Not yet. The great one, Lonzo, with a sports flash.
And stop all your age hating. Wow. South Carolina women's basketball team claimed a share of the SEC regular season title with the 78-66 win over Kentucky yesterday. Tessa Johnson had 16 off the bench, while Tiana Pau led the starters with 13, and Chloe Kitts added 12 and 10 rebounds. With the win, the Gamecocks claimed a share of the SEC regular season title, split with Texas, as both was awarded the number 1 seed in this week's conference tournament via coin flip. Well, so South Carolina via coin flip. Clemson Tiger baseball team, as we've been talking about, finished off a 3-game sweep with the Carolina Gamecocks with an 8-2 victory yesterday in Columbia. South Carolina drops 9-3. Clemson is now 10-1. Tune in Saturday at 8 p.m. as the Furman Paladins take on the Sanford Bulldogs in the first round of the SoCon basketball tournament. It's Furman versus Sanford right here on your home for Furman Paladins. Basketball, the Fan, Upstate. Hey, did you guys know? I don't know if you knew this, that the Oscars were on last night. I don't know if you knew this.
I didn't know it, but I didn't watch it because I don't think I saw a single movie that was nominated for anything.
That was going to be my next question. Has anyone out there seen any of the Oscar-nominated movies?
And it's not that I like have anything against them. This wasn't a big movie year for me.
Dude. When have you, in the last 5 years, what was a big movie year for you? You and I together have probably seen more movies. I mean, I know we've went and seen 2 together, I think.
Yeah. We're supposed to go, if we feel like it this afternoon or this evening, we're supposed to go see Captain America this evening. However, I thought she was totally caught up with Marvel. She has not watched Falcon and Winter Soldier yet, so I'm like, do I need to put her through the pace first and just wait for it to come out on Disney Plus? I don't want to wait.
All right, I just looked. I've actually seen one of the movies that were nominated, Dune Part 2, which is never gonna win.
Was it Best Picture nominated?
Yeah,
I've heard it's fantastic.
it was. I never saw Wicked, but my wife and daughter did. The Brutalist, no idea. Complete Unknown, no idea. Conclave, Emily Perez, no. I'm Still Here, no. Nickel Boys, The Substance, wonder what that's about. I don't know. QC in the first break. I'm sure the movies I watch like cleaned up in the sci-fi effects thing, whatever that is. Yeah.
And off we go. The Rob Brown Show is on the radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Hour numero dos gets underway right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown, the great one, Alonzo, and Ayo. Be a part of the show. 844-326-3663 is the number. 844-FANFONE. That's the number to call the show. That's the number to text the show. If you want to be a part of it, you are certainly welcome to do so. Oscars last night. I made the point. It got brought up during the break on our live stream, Facebook.com/The Fan Upstate, The Fan Upstate on YouTube, The Fan Upstate on Twitter, and The Rob Brown Show on Facebook, on YouTube, and Twitch, because we are young, cool, hip, and totally with it. The Oscars brought up last night, and Lonzo said, did anybody A, know, or B, watch? And the answer was no for me. Last year was not a big movie year for me. I went through and looked at the Best Picture nominations. I knew of like 2 of the movies and did not see any of them. Are we as Americans kind of like done with movies post-COVID, or just done with movies in theaters where we're gonna wait for them to come out? Because I've kind of shifted over to the majority of the movies that I want to see. I just wait till they stream, because the wait is not as long as it used to be. It was in theaters and you had to wait like 10 months till it came out on a DVD. Now it's like you got to wait like 2 months before it's out on streaming. Something's got to really either A, be a Marvel movie, or B, grab me by the throat to get me into a theater.
I would say Dune 2 was nominated for a couple of things. It probably made more money than all the other movies combined.
Here's the movies that were nominated for Best Picture. Anora was the winner. I don't know anything about this movie. I know nothing about it. I know that Cody Decker saw it, and he said it was very good. I don't know anything about it. Amelia Perez. I know more about the Offset drama than I know about the movie itself. I don't know anything about this movie.
Oh, is that the one with Blake Lively and stuff?
No, that was
right.
like some weird streaming movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that wasn't even like in the thing. A Complete Unknown, that's the Bob Dylan movie with Timothée Chalamet. Never saw it. Not against it. Not like I'm not against it. I don't understand the Timothée Chalamet love. Like,
you do know it's Shyamalan, right?
No, it's Chalamet.
It's Shyamalan. It's Shyamalan.
Shamalama Ding Dong. I don't know.
Shambhala.
Conclave, know what it's about. Like, didn't really have a huge interest in it. Nickel Boys, no idea. I'm Still Here, no idea. The Substance, no idea. Dune Part 2, didn't know about it. However, still haven't seen Dune Part 1. That's on me. That's a movie that's right up my alley, and I just haven't got around to it.
Shyamalan in it.
Never gotten to it. That's got Timothée Chalamet Ding Dong in it too?
Yeah, and Zendaya.
He was I know her.
Yeah.
I know her. She's Mary Jane, kind of. Wicked, which kind of did want to see. I mean, still do want to see Wicked.
Ariana, man, it's okay to eat a sandwich, okay? It's okay. That kind of skinny is not attractive.
Yeah, but I think she was doing it for another role.
No,
she got extra thin for another role.
Dude.
I don't know what to tell you, man. Hollywood's weird. Do want to see Wicked, just never got around to it, mainly because it was like...
It's out on stream. You can...
Yeah, I'm going to sit down and watch it. It was initially...
It's retcon, trying to turn the bad guy into a good guy. You know, it's okay to have a villain, all right?
Isn't it just...
Let the villain be a villain, okay?
Isn't it just the play? Oh, you mean the play is retcon of Wizard of Oz?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I know
it's okay.
You think it's bad.
It's okay to have a villain and let them be a villain.
There are plenty of villains. I think it's also.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
it's interesting to have an introspective on people's decision making.
So now, when she melts, we should be sad. You can't make me be sad about that. Except for the fact that she can't take a bath. I mean, that's a problem. Because she must be stinking if she'll melt if you throw water on her. I mean, and I don't think they had, whole body deodorant in Oz. Maybe they do.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, a complete and total breakdown of the hygienic practices in Munchkinland. And The Brutalist, which I saw commercials for. I don't know what it's about. So I saw 0 of the movies nominated for Best Picture.
So you didn't even think about, so you can bet on anything. And I'm guessing there's probably some pretty good money made on the Oscars.
Oh, yeah. But again, much like sports betting, it was like the movie that won it was like minus 275. And it's like, I don't know if there's value in this. And I haven't seen any of them, so I don't know.
See what I did there? Brought it back around to sports.
Nice job. You know what else we could do to bring it back around to sports? We could do the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories you need to know before you get to the office. And it starts now.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
where they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with your coworkers this AM. Once thou does, this is what you will be talking about. Let's dive right in with item number 1. The NCAA has not finalized expansion plans for the men's and women's basketball tournaments, and according to NCAA Senior Vice President of Basketball Operations Dan Gavitt, will not do so anytime in the near future, but it probably will down the line. Different conversation that we'll have here in just a minute. Gavitt said he does not expect a vote, quote, in the near future, end quote, though it is theoretically possible with the big enough push that a vote could be made in the late spring that could move next year's college basketball national championship tournaments from 68 to either 72 or 76 teams. That being said, the late spring vote is possible but unlikely. Possible but unrealistic. Still could happen. Probably won't. It's probably going to be down the line. Gavitt said, quote, it's not taken in a lighthearted way at all because of the success of the tournaments and how important they are to college basketball overall. Expansion, even in a modest level, is complex, more complex than I think than has been recognized and reported because it is expensive. This year's March Madness will be the 40th men's bracket since the field expanded to 64 back in 1985. The women's bracket increased to 64 teams in 1994. Gavitt said he isn't sure whether the field should expand, but is more positive about the possibility than he was a few years ago. He said that NIL deals, conference realignment, and the transfer portal have changed the dynamics of college basketball. Men's in particular, he said he feels it is suited for expansion. He went on to say, quote, there is no sport that is deeper overall and has more parity than men's college basketball. There's great basketball played at every level of men's basketball right now, so I think it's important to keep the tournament contemporary and relevant based on what is going on in college athletics, end quote. Yes and no. At the same time, I guess, like, on one hand, he's not wrong. The parity in college basketball is as good as it's been in a very long time. There are more teams than there have been in a very long time. However, are there 76 teams we think are potential national champions? Are there 76? My biggest fear the whole time. And again, I think if there's one guy on your speakers in the upstate that is unafraid of change in sports, give me rubber wumps all the time, it's me. I don't think we need this. I'm down for change in sports to make sports better, but I don't think we need this. We already have 68 teams that are in. No 16s or 15s or 14s or 13s or 12s are winning the national championship. It just doesn't happen. What you do when you expand even further, and I'll be honest with you, I don't even think we need 68. I'm fine with it. 64, I'm fine with it. I think you could drop it down by like 10 or 12 and still be in a good spot. I'm fine with it at 64. I don't think you need to increase it because I do think there is a saturation point, and I think we're right on it. I think there is a point where the first round starts to become not just neutral, not just irrelevant, but it actually starts to become detrimental because while we do love upsets, we love an upset. Again, last year or 2 years ago, whenever it was, I was flying up to New York City on the day that Furman played Virginia. I got off the plane to find out that the Paladins had knocked off the Hoos. And I quite literally, in the airport in New York City, went through, opened up my luggage in the airport to put on my FU hoodie to walk around New York City. I was very proud. I loved it. It was great to be a Den that day. All Den, baby. FU one time. That's exciting. And then they turn around and lost game 2. It happens. The smaller school, UMBC, knocks off Virginia when they were a 1 seed, 16-1 upset. Then they get smoked the next game. The lower seeds aren't winning natties. Now, that's not to say I don't think they should be there or be given a chance, but there comes a point where the risk of your top-tier college basketball teams getting bumped because they had a bad night's sleep on the road in the tournament, and you got a handful of those, and now your tournament is watered down without your biggest contenders being there because they lost a dumb game because you've asked them to play 6 of them. It de-escalates the tournament. Ignore the crying because Lonzo doesn't like America's second favorite sporting event, the March Madness tournament.
Oh, no, that was about you. It was about
That's
the
fine, but I'm
tournament.
right.
That was more about you.
That's fine, but I'm right. When you start adding more, you start watering down. That's how dilution works. The more you add, the more you water it down. And I don't think we need it. All right, let's get to item number 2. Tessa Johnson scored 16, and the number 6 South Carolina women's basketball team claimed a share of the SEC regular season championship yesterday with a 78-66 win over number 15 Kentucky on the road on the same day. Number 1 Texas knocked off Florida 72-46. So both the Longhorns and the Gamecocks finished the year 15-1 in conference play. They played each other twice in the regular season. Tiebreaker number 1, regular season record against each other. The Gamecocks and the Longhorns were 1-1. Each secured a victory over the other, which meant that the tiebreaker process led to a literal coin flip between Texas and South Carolina. Greg Sankey on the SEC network, quite literally, awkwardly, stared into a camera, pulled out a coin with the Gamecock logo on one side and the Longhorn logo on the other, flipped it, wrapped it on a tan, showed the camera. The South Carolina Gamecocks earned the number... they are awarded via coin flip the number 1 seed in the SEC tournament.
They still earned it. They had the same record, and that is the noted way of breaking a tie.
Yeah, but you don't earn the result of a coin flip. You earn the right to be in the coin flip, but you don't earn the result of a coin flip. You earn being coin flippable, and they were coin flippable, and there's awkward-ass Greg Sankey.
All right, I didn't look awkward. He flipped that really well, caught it, threw it down. I mean, him having to hold his arm for the camera, that's a little awkward.
It's awkward.
Yeah, but that's
they
not...
They show him, and he's like...
That's not his fault. He's doing what they told him to do. The flip and the catch was great.
Of course he did. But what they told him to do was stand there in front of the camera like I was half expecting him to hold up a newspaper to show that it was that day. Like it was like a hostage video. You want to go home and see your family? Flip this coin, Greg. It's just weird. But doesn't matter. Either way, South Carolina earns the number 1 overall seed in the SEC Women's Basketball Conference Championship Tournament, which takes place this week right here in GVL. Yeah. Gamecocks will get a noon tip on Friday. I will be there to cover that game for you. Make sure you follow me on social media at The Rob Brown Show. Make sure you're following everybody at The Fan Upstate. Let's go to item number 3. A 3-game series between the Clemson Tiger baseball team and the South Carolina Gamecock baseball team, and all 3 games end up in favor of the team wearing orange. Back on Friday, a 5-3 win in Clemson. They played a neutral site game Saturday at Fluor Field in downtown Greenville, South Carolina. 5-1 in favor of Los Tigres, and then they wrapped it up yesterday at Founders Park over in Columbia, South Carolina. Justin LeGrenick went 4 innings, gave up 2 hits, K'd 6. Joe Allen stepped in, went 3 innings, no hits, 1 walk, 6 Ks across 9 batters to earn the W. Dylan Eskew was the starting pitcher for South Carolina. Did go 6 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 earned run, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. But he was given the L in this one. South Carolina scattered 5 hits across 9. Nathan Hall had a couple. Ethan Petrie had a couple. And Jace Wood had 1 for for Clemson. There were 8 hits scattered across the game. The middle of the order was about as good as it gets. Cam Kennarella had 1. Luke Gaffney had 1. Colin Priest had 1. Jacob Jarrell had 1. Tristan Bissetta had 1. And Jaron Purify had a pair of them, the only Tiger with a multi-hit day. Colin Priest had 3 RBIs, which was the primary difference there. It was an 8-2 win in favor of the Tigers. It was a 3-0 series sweep across the Palmetto series. The Reedy River rivalry betwixt the two. Clemson has moved to 10-1. They are inside of the D1 baseball top 25, and I expect after this win that they will jump up probably around number 10 when the next poll comes out. South Carolina was on the outside looking in to start this series, and they will now be further on the outside looking in after this series. The Tigers will have their next game coming up tomorrow. They will play right here in Greenville, South Carolina when they take on SC Upstate. The Gamecock baseball team will look to get a rebound after getting swept when they take on Davidson tomorrow at home at Founders Park in a midweek showdown. We'll talk more college baseball as the year progresses. We will ask John Blau of the Post and Courier. He covers the Clemson Tigers about this sweep coming up here in about an hour and 20 minutes. The Rob Brown Show, the great one, Lonzo. Yours truly, Rob Brown, back after this on the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, quick live reading. We're coming right back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you. Texter said, Rob, your water cooler cheat sheet audio is supposed to be bubbles. It sounded like somebody ripping a bong. Yeah, no, we know. We know. We've made the joke about Urban Meyer's friend on a boat before.
Here's the problem.
Still funny.
We compared it before. They don't sound like, to me, it sounds like a water cooler.
I mean, we've gotten...
I went to our wonderful effects department, looked up water cooler, picked the best one, and that was it. If you like, I could play the full clip.
Some tech guy up at the corporate office loaded that up and was like, this is going to be hilarious. Bro,
It doesn't sound.
hilarious.
I mean, I've never been around, and since I don't do drugs, I don't know, other than seeing it on TV. But this, well, if I add it up, does not sound like that. You can hear it. Just wait till the end, and that's where you've turned the water cooler over. Have you ever changed a water cooler? A lot of people out there have never changed one before. You have to take the lid off, and you have to really quick put the thing up, and then the water has to come out of that big old, is it a jug? I guess it's a jug.
Jug's good to me.
And pour down into the apparatus where you get your water out of. It's not really a fountain. Listen, I don't know all the technical terminology, but I've had to change the water cooler here before a long time ago. We had to do it ourselves before we went to whatever the filtering system that we have now.
Texter, I want you to know I think it's funny.
It's not.
I also had the mind of a child, and I think
it's not. I mean, as someone who listens for a living, it disturbs me that you guys equate that to something that it doesn't sound anything like. It doesn't sound like that at all. Of course, I haven't personally did it before, so maybe when you text her and you, Rob, personally did the thing, maybe it does sound like that.
kind of does.
Okay. All right. I'm going to disagree, and I'll never find out firsthand.
All right, let's get to some stuff. I want to talk NFL Combine just a second. I was on Saturday doing Bet for the Cycle and had it on in the background. And we went to a break, and during the break, my lovely wife walked in at one point when they were doing one of the position groups doing their vertical. You jump up, you hit the little spinny things on the top of a big pole, and, that's how they measure how high you jump. And she sat there and she watched it for 15, 20 seconds. I think she watched a guy jump twice, or two guys jump once. I don't remember. But she watched a guy or some guys jump real high in the air, hit the little spinny sticks on the pole, and land. And as we were sitting there talking about it, she's like, this is weird to me.
Did you explain to her about how it gauges explosivity? And,
I'm about to.
Okay. All right.
She said, this is weird to me. And I said, why is it weird? And she said, you're just watching dudes jump in the air. And I went, yeah. And she goes, is this like a competition? And I said, no, it's not a competition. I guess it is a competition with themselves to set the best number they can set. And she said, okay, but like,
but it is a competition between the guys.
I'm sure it is.
Of course, you want to be the one who jumped the highest.
Sure it is. It's competition between the guys. It's competition with themselves, right? Like these guys have a number in their head. Isaiah Baum proved that. He said, I'm running a 4.2. He did not. We're coming to that in a minute. She said, do they get points? Like, does this determine where they're going to go play NFL football? And I said, no, ma'am. This event is for the nerds. This event's for the nerds. This event, the NFL Combine, is, I said on Friday, and I stand by it, probably the third of the big three events on the NFL calendar. It is Super Bowl, Draft, and Combine. And I would make the argument that the Combine, while less exciting, is more important than the NFL Draft, because obviously what happens at the Combine is how coaches determine who they're going to take on draft day. Now, on Friday, I got into the emotion behind the NFL Combine. That emotion being, it is the first day, even though the league new year starts 9 days from now, it is the first day of what I call the fan new year. It is the first day where all of us are optimistic. Because, if you're an NFL fan at all, we have learned over the past handful of years, and I think I'm comfortable saying this now, that the teams that are consistently at the top of the NFL are teams that draft well. The Kansas City Chiefs have been exceptional in the draft the last few years. The Philadelphia Eagles have been exceptional in the draft the last few years. The Buffalo Bills have been very good in the draft the last few years. The Ravens, very good in the draft the last couple of years. You build a core with the draft. You get your biggest needs around your drafted guys via free agency and trade. And I think that's become obvious. When you look at Philly, when you look at Kansas City, when you look at Buffalo, when you look at Baltimore, when you look at Detroit, that's become obvious to me. So the reason we all got super pumped about the draft is because NFL fans now recognize something that NFL talking heads have said for a very long time. The combine is not to learn who the best football players are. The combine is to figure out the ceiling of these guys. The combine is to figure out what's the best they could be. Nick Emmanwori is kind of the poster child of that this year. This is a dude who had very good tape at South Carolina. Very good tape. He's a very versatile defensive back. I can line Nick Emmanwori up at the NFL level today, I believe. I can line him up to cover an X. I can line him up to cover a slot. I can line him up to cover with the shade help, a tight end. I can put him over the top in a cover 2. I can trust him in a cover 3. There's not a spot in the defensive backfield that this guy can't play. However, if you watch his tape from last year, and this is tape season for me, big watch the tape guy. There's a lot to his, I don't want to say a lot, there's a good amount to his game that will need to be polished. He is a good but not great open field tackler. Good but not great. He wants to lay the lumber and will frequently lay the lumber and sacrifice integrity of the tackle to do it, right? He's not crossing the bow, wrapping the arms, driving to the ground. He's putting that arm underneath, loading that shoulder up, and trying to explode into a guy to knock him down. Well, that works at college ball. That works when you're playing Vanderbilt. It's not going to work when you're trying to hit Alvin Kamara out of the backfield. It's not going to work when you load up and try to hit Derrick Henry blasting through the hole. Those guys are going to eat that contact, and they're going to yak daddy their way to a first down, and you're going to be left 3 yards behind laying on the ground with a sore shoulder. You got to learn how to tackle. That's something that needs to be cleaned up. Nick Emmanwori is a guy that is very good about predicting a route. Not as good at breaking off of his prediction when a wide receiver throws an adapted route at him, right? Guy that's going to say, all right, back pedal's coming to my side of the football field, and likely what I'm dealing with is an over-under concept. And I know I got a safety, so I'm going to step up to the under. And what happens is that wide receiver sets like he's going to break to the under. He and the quarterback recognize Emmanwori is going to step out, bang, curling behind him. Now I drop a little pass over the top. He's got to work on adjusting on the fly and not playing formulatic defense. These are things that he can work on, though. These are things that can be coached up at the next level. Not necessarily as big of a deal at the college level or at the NFL level. But that's not why we do the combine. We do the combine because this is where I measure the metrics of what are you capable of. So when she walks into the room and I'm oddly watching Cam Scattaboo in spandex shorts and a super tight shirt jump up and hit the spinny things on the stick, she goes, why are you watching dudes jump in the air? I'm not watching to see how big his vert is. I'm watching to see what the explosivity in those quads are. Because that's how you determine what the pop in the quads are.
Are you okay?
I think so.
Okay.
I'll let you know in a minute.
You hit that pretty hard.
Hey, man, you throw a super kick, you got to get that sound right.
Okay, all right.
That's what I'm watching for. When I watch Isaiah Bond run the 40, am I looking for him to get his top overall speed, to get his time, to see if he gets a 4.2? Yeah, from the entertainment side. But he runs a 4.4. And the conversation around him was, he ran a 4.4. He said he was going to run a 4.2. How disappointing. He hurt himself. And I'm sitting there going, I still like this kid. Let's still draft this kid. You know why? Because there are metrics other than what was your time. And this is where the nerd comes in. Isaiah Bond's 40 time was slower than Xavier Ward's by like 0.2 of a second, which in football time is a very long time. 0.2 of a second in the 40 equates to about 1.5 yards. How much separation is 1.5 yards when a guy's running a 9 route and he's got 1.5 yards on the free safety? A quarterback is drooling on himself if he can have that consistently out of his deep threat, right? So that's a big deal. What I did find interesting, though, was that Isaiah Bond's top speed, not time, top speed, was as fast as Xavier Worthy's was. He didn't get to it as quickly. That's that fast burst. That's that quickness, acceleration versus speed. Acceleration and speed are different measurable vectors. His speed was one of the fastest in the NFL. His acceleration wasn't. He didn't get to his top speed as fast, but once he got there, he was able to outrun everybody in this combine and almost everybody, except Isaiah Bond in the last few, except Xavier Worthy in the last few. When I try to translate that over to football, what I'm looking at there is not a guy that I'm going, that's my 9 route guy. Can be a 9 route guy. Can be a guy that if we're got to go 5 wide because we're down 4 with 7 to play and I got to heave one down there, yeah, hey, man, get out there, run it, all right? But there's a reason that I don't think he'll be Xavier Worthy. That reason is the concept of acceleration. I want to know more about the acceleration than I do the top-end speed. Top-end speed's important, but I want to know how fast does this guy get off the football. This is why, to me, you know it's a more important speed than the 40 speed? The 10-yard dash. How fast can you get me first down yardage? Because if you can get it to me in the way Xavier Worthy can get it to me, guess what happens? Now he is as valuable as a 5 and in, an inside slant, a 7 and in route runner as he is a 9 guy. And the Chiefs took full advantage of that last year, right? How many underneath routes did Xavier Worthy convert? Why? Because that acceleration is just faster than everybody. Isaiah Bond, I know he can run a 9 or a 7. Now I know probably not as adept on those inside slants like Worthy is to where he's valuable in that role. That's what the combine's for. All right, we'll take a look at some of the guys in the combine that Carolina might be interested in and the rest of the NFC South later on in the show. The Rob Brown Show continues. It's the Fan Upstate. Hill still in the league. I feel like we've been saying Al Horford's still in the league for like 5 years.
We'll be back as soon as I can find a thing because I gotta go. Yeah.
What was Cole's 40 time? I'm saying 5. I'll give him 5.9. I think he could break a 6-second 40.
Again, I need a knee replacement, so I ain't in this. I can barely walk. I would like to know how official this was because I was alerted to it, but I never watched.
5.2?
Here's the thing.
No. He did not run a 5.2.
Yeah, but
no way.
Who's doing the stopwatch?
Yeah, I was going to say he ran a 5.2 if he clocked himself. And I don't say that with any disrespect.
Well,
I'm not breaking 6.
What a Diesel run. I'm just, There's a lot of things factor into it and how they rope off 40 yards. Whose feet did they use? Because one person's feet's a little
Was
bit
this a
smaller.
40 yard or a 40 step?
Yeah, and apparently they did it in the parking lot. Diesel 5.9. Okay.
I believe that. I can get down with that.
I don't know, man. But I ran like a 5.1 when I tried out for the
5.2?
when I tried out for the Rhinos. So
Okay, I don't even know how to address this. I'll start by saying this. I love Cole Bryson. I love Cole. He's my dog. He's my guy. I love Diesel. That's my guy. Love the boys from Wire to Wire every afternoon from 3 to 7 here on the Fan Upstate. And I will say this as the second thing. I don't think I'm faster than either one of these cats, all right? I think they would both outrun me today. I have not done any sort of genuine, sprinting in a very long time. I've played some basketball, but I'm not a runner in basketball. Played some soccer, not a runner in soccer. I'm a goalie. I'm a big man at the 5. I don't run.
all right, all of us in our prime, I outrun every single one of you.
They don't.
Yeah, I do.
They don't.
Without a doubt.
What's your best 40?
A 4.9.
Yeah,
but
I was
could have
a
been faster.
4.84.
I know, and I'm going to beat you just out of sheer adrenaline.
No. You're
Yeah,
not.
for sure.
No, you're not.
Because there's no way you're
No, you're
beating
not.
me.
You were an offensive lineman, dog. I was a wide receiver.
So?
You weren't beating me at your best.
Really, Rob?
At
you
your
just-
best.
you
Not
just pointed
faster
out-
than me.
You just,
You'd have beat my ass, but you wouldn't outrun
by
me.
the way, you just pointed out you were a tenth of a second faster than me, and you're
You
a
said
wide
a
receiver.
You said a 4.9 what?
a 4.9.
Yeah, it was a 4.84. That's
okay,
the
not even a
difference.
tenth of a second. All right, so
That's faster.
yeah, it is faster.
You're
but
not outrunning me.
You're missing the point. You were a receiver, and I was a lineman,
Right.
and you barely are faster than me.
Still fast. What you
Okay.
said was you would outrun all of us in your prime. I'm telling you, no, you
what
wouldn't
this
have.
means that on any given day, I would beat you some, you would beat me, but more than likely, I would beat you because of adrenaline and competitive
would-
spirit.
Yes, because we all know competitive spirit wins races.
It can get you a few tenths. If
And
if
you
you're
would have
looking
had
over.
it, and I wouldn't have because
Without a doubt.
'Cause you're a dog,
Without
and
a
I ain't got that
doubt.
dog
Because I
in
would have intimidated you before we
Yeah,
ran.
yeah.
And you'd have been scared.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you'd be like, oh no, if
Yeah.
I were to win, I might get them hands.
you're
And-
being that I could play in the NBA guy right now.
By the way, I know that. There's no
I
no
know
way
that.
to assimilate any of this stuff.
Okay.
I'm glad that those two guys ran, and the fact that Cole beat a guy who's like what 13, 14
No, wait.
years older
No.
than him.
You're taking this somewhere. I gotta get to this. Cole. Steven just said, and I don't even know if he's listening right now. I'm saying this in hopes that he is. CB, if you're listening, I need you to call in. Because you got my man Steven in our Facebook chat right now, facebook.com/thefanupstate, the Fan Upstate on YouTube and Twitter, The Rob Brown Show on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Steven just said that Cole claimed a 5.240 on Friday. And I am here to say, as somebody who, again, loves Cole Bryson, absolutely not. There's no way in Hades Cole Bryson turned in a 5.240. There's no way. He said Diesel turned in a 5.9. I can accept a 5.9. I can accept a 5.9 from Diesel.
Diesel's built for distance, not for speed.
I can accept a 5.9. There's no world Cole Bryson ran a 5.2. No world. Now, I will tell you, I was working on Friday, so I didn't get to. Ordinarily, I listen to Wire to Wire for at least an hour a day. I'm sitting at the desk at the
I bet
office
he's faster
at the house.
than that because they're running on pavement. They don't have.
He's
have
not
cleats.
5'2".
He's probably faster than that for sure.
I don't care if he was running on concrete with the wind behind him. He's not running a 5'2". There were active linebackers in the NFL draft combine who didn't run a 5'2".
Do you think he was wearing an Arizona Cardinal jersey when he was running?
I don't care what he was wearing, how he was dressed, what the environment was. There's no word. And I say, again, with all the Taylor Swift heart hand emoji love in the world, there's no world he turned in a 5'2". Who timed this?
I'm guessing they timed each other.
Well, then I got to tell you.
I'm guessing that. I don't know, but I'm guessing.
I got to tell you. If my wife ever smartens up and divorces my ass and I'm back in the dating market, I'm taking Diesel with me as my wingman if he's out here letting Cole get away with a 5'2" 40. There ain't no way. And again,
if they didn't run against each other, it's not the same. I mean, because if you're looking over and that guy's right next, you're going to find a little bit of something extra.
I'm going to drop it right now. Buddy, I don't care if Cole Bryson was running for $1 million check. He didn't run a 5'2". Buddy. There's no way. Listen, again, I say this with love and admiration for a young
brought
man.
Up a good point. The wind was blowing really hard Friday.
I don't care. I don't care if he was running in a hurricane that was all pushing behind him.
They're saying Rob Jones timed it.
I'm gonna have to go get Rob Jones.
Are you doubting Rob Jones?
Yep.
I mean,
yep.
Is he going to pick one over the other and make one a little bit faster than the other? I don't know.
There ain't no way. There ain't no damn way.
If Rob were a cop, I could see him controlling the speed trap, though.
Ain't no way.
You know how fast you were going.
I am. So we talked about this cat last week. Bert Kreischer is a comedian. He's gotten very big the last couple of years. He's the comedian that told the story about being the machine, and he takes his shirt off when he does shows. If you've been on social media and that's in your algorithm at all, you know who Bert Kreischer is. He's gotten very big. Kreischer is very interesting because Bert Kreischer is this like big fat dude that if you saw him out in public, you'd be like, I could take that guy. Bert Kreischer did a couple of months ago a workout with the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line. Jason Kelce was there. And they put him on the bench press, and he was like, throw like 420 or some ridiculous ass number on the bar. And the boys on the Philly O-line were like, ain't no way. They made a bet with him. Like, here's the bet. Because some of the guys on that O-line have a podcast, right? They made a bet with him. They're like, if you can get this up, we will mention your pod on our pod every day for like a month. But if you can't, you got to mention our pod on your pod every day for a month. And Bert Kreischer was like, yeah, no worries. This dude took like 425 on the bar. Big fat guy. Bigger than me. And just boom, like no problem. So I will happily acknowledge that there may be a little bit of that dog in Cole Bryson that is just like buried below the surface. I respect that. But there's no way he turned in a 5'2" 40. It's just not a thing.
All right, you're hating. And the more you say there's no way, the more I believe in Cole Bryson. It
is not hate. That's like me saying, I had a 42-inch vertical this weekend. No, I didn't. And you know I didn't. And calling that out is not hating. That's that's not a thing.
I don't even know how much. Well, I guess that would be like close to 4 feet.
Yeah, 42-inch vertical. I'm hitting my head on the rim.
Yeah, well,
I can't touch the rim anymore. I used to be able to dunk. Not anymore. No, ain't no way. Ain't no way. Jersey Joe is on the line. I am under the impression, Jersey Joe, that you were somehow affiliated with this alleged 5'2". Jersey Joe, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. So you were somehow affiliated with this athletic competition?
I was there firsthand, in person, spectating.
And you're telling me, are you good with Cole claiming a 5'2" 40?
Hey, your man Rob Jones had the stopwatch going, so it was all his word.
The only thing I'm questioning here is Rob Jones' ability to use a stopwatch. A 5'2"?
But Cole did take his shirt off, though, so he was bare-chested when he ran.
I mean, listen, I respect it.
Wait, what? I don't want to see that. But
Listen, I want video footage.
by the way,
All right? I
we
want
can-
documentation.
Rob, we can get video footage. They did it outside. We got cameras.
I'm
outside.
going to get it right now.
I mean, Chris can pull that footage. We can time it ourselves. As long as he stays in frame, we can find out if it was a real 5'2".
Joe, were you there or were you listening when it happened?
No, I was live and in person.
Okay. Was it a 5'2"?
According to Rob Jones.
No, that's not what I asked you, Joe. Did you see a 5'2"? Did you see a guy and go, okay, he's threatening
What,
a
do you
5?
expect Joe to have his stopwatch out too? Is that what you expected?
No,
He was there to watch the show,
okay,
man.
I'm saying when I watch a dude, I can get close. I can go, that's not a 5. That's not a 5'5". That's a 6. I can when Eisen runs, I can tell you that's a 6. You're telling me he outperformed Rich Eisen?
He had some good form. He had the arms pumping, everything.
April on the stream says they streamed it, so we could actually find it on the stream.
Oh, I'm literally looking at the Fan Upstates page right now. I am going back to Friday's show to find it.
Why are you offended? You should be like, yeah, one of our guys ran a 5'2". I mean, why does that bother you?
What bothers me, I think, is that he's claiming a 5'2". There's no way.
The youngest guy on the station runs the fastest. Woo, surprise.
5'2". Jersey Joe, there were guys playing linebacker at the combine that didn't turn in 5'2s. Cole Bryson put up NFL linebacker speed. That's what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, I guess he did.
I'm going to find the video.
I tell you what, Diesel wasn't too far behind him.
According to Steven, Diesel ran a 5'9". That is a 0.7 of a second split. I believe Diesel's a 5'9". If you'd have told me Diesel and Cole both ran 5'7s, I would have accepted that. A 5'2" is... If Cole Bryson ran a 5'2", I'm saying this part I will say very sincerely, Joe. If Cole Bryson ran a 5'2", I will come back this afternoon and shake that man's hand because the athletic prowess would be off the charts. I love Cole. I don't believe it. Not for a second.
I do. I believe it. I believe he would have been faster if he had cleats on.
Then 5'2"?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to make you faster if you got something to. I mean, they're running on pavement, right?
Right. That's why 5'2" is ridiculous. If he's running 5'2" on pavement and sneakers, he's running a 5 flat on grass in cleats. That's a lot. That's fast. That's very fast.
You're emotionally upset over this. I don't get it, dude.
Because,
It's one of our guys. Way to go, Cole.
okay, cool. I ran a 4.7 this weekend.
Yeah, but you're lying.
No, I'm not. Wait. I'm one of your guys, Lonzo. You should
Yeah,
be happy.
yeah,
You
but
should
you-
be promoted. You should be like, hell yeah, Rob Brown.
No, but you don't have video proof and Joe on the line saying it happened.
That's right.
Okay. What Joe said was, that's what got said. Joe, do you believe Cole Bryson ran a 5.240?
What?
It's yes. Thank you so much.
No.
Thank
Hold on. There's a little
Silence
bit of
speaks in volume.
there's a little bit of a delay between us getting to Joe. Don't take the hesitation as he was. It took him a second to hear it. That's all it was.
Joe, do you believe
Yes,
Cole ran a
I do
5.2?
believe he did.
There we
Yes, I
go.
do believe he.
There we go.
Steven also just said he did it in Hey Dudes, not sneakers. He did it in boat shoes? Absolutely not. There's no way. Jersey Joe,
This sounds like this is about you,
Brother, I
more
love
so
you.
than- wow.
you're P1 in the Armada. You have earned a captaincy in the Armada, but I don't believe you.
I'm sorry, Rob.
I believe you, Joe. It just there's only one naysayer in this room.
I appreciate you, big. Go ahead.
No. I say if you go back and look at the stream, you'll see me there firsthand in person.
What time on Friday did this happen?
Give or take about 4:25-ish.
About 4:25. All right, about an hour and 45 into the show. I'm going to look at this during the break. I am going to run it through software functions. I'm going to see if I can get Olivia
Thanks,
Benson
Joe.
and Ice Cube on the line to run it through the CSI filters. I am about to like science nerd in a way that has never been. I am about to go out and measure the space in the parking lot so that I can compare it to the video footage. Cole, I love you like a brother. A 5'2" in Hey Dudes.
This ain't about you, Rob. Why are you offended, dude?
A 5'2".
Why are you offended?
Okay, I ran a 4.6 this weekend. Dressed it up. Went out on
You-
Saturday.
you're
Ran a
making-
4.6.
You're making yourself look bad right now. I just don't.
Why?
I don't
Lonzo, why are you
understand.
offended? You're supposed to be one
I
of my
don't
guys. You're supposed
under-
to promote me. You're
I
supposed to be
don't
like, good job.
understand. There's no video proof of what you did. You're just saying this to counter what they actually did. And we got time after the show. You can go out and prove.
No, because I'll pop a
4.6.
hammy.
Well, okay, fine.
This ain't about me.
You know who didn't pop a hammy?
Apparently,
Cole or Diesel.
apparently Cole is going in the third round. Bryson. That's listen.
He can be really fast, but you can't teach height, so he's not going anywhere.
I just pulled up their stream from Friday. It is buffering right now, and you know how like it puts the little caption up on the bottom of the screen. The caption that is on the bottom of the screen as this video buffers in is, "No, I have Hey Dudes on, which is not good." Hate 5'2" and Hey Dudes. If Cole Bryson did this, I will meet up and buy that man a not beer today.
Okay, and I'm sure he doesn't care either way because he knows he did it. Whether you believe it or not, it's irrelevant. There's
I ran a 4.8.
There's video proof. There's no video proof of you. There's video proof of him doing it.
Doesn't matter how you feel. I believe it. That's
Video proof. So you
5'2".
are denying actual evidence.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm working on that right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because all our video has been known to buffer a really long time. Way to go, you.
Hang on,
Why don't you just introduce the Sports Flash?
Because I'm getting called out now, and you know how
Well,
that goes.
we don't have time for that. We could do it in the next hour.
Spinny buffering circle of death right there. Sports Flash. Lonzo's going to do the Sports Flash in 5'2".
4-9. The Clemson Tiger baseball team finished off a 3-game sweep of the Carolina Gamecocks with an 8-2 victory yesterday in Columbia. Jaron Purify, whatever, was the only Tiger with multiple hits going 2 for 4. You all heard the meow, didn't you? With an RBI, but Clemson limited the Gamecocks to just 5 hits and 1 RBI. South Carolina drops to 9-3 on the season, while Clemson improves to 10-1. South Carolina women's basketball team claimed a share of the SEC regular season title with a 78-66 win over Kentucky yesterday. Tessa Johnson had 16 off the bench, while Tiana Papao led the starters with 13, and Chloe Kitts added 12 and 10 rebounds. Make sure you tune in this Saturday at 8 p.m. as the Furman Paladins take on the Sanford Bulldogs in the first round of the SoCon basketball tournament. It's Furman versus Sanford right here on your home for Furman Paladins basketball. The Fan. Upstate. Wow, my guy taking this personal. I'm good. The only thing that I'm curious about is accurate measurement. And Rob Jones, sports guy, so I'm sure he was not generous with the time. He's the assistant news director. You're not going to, he's got integrity. You don't get that title without some integrity. So thank you for doing the work for him. I don't care that much, but I'm proud of my of my brothers, of my fellow guys here on the station. April put up the exact time to look for on there on the video that you can go to and see them run.
It's still loading.
Where are you loading it from?
Facebook. I have to go to the YouTube page.
Or you could have just, anyway, could have went on StreamYard and just grabbed it from there because it hasn't been deleted yet. Open up a separate StreamYard window and, I mean, if that's what you wanted, I mean, it probably would have been easier to do that. You didn't break Rob, Steven. Rob broke Rob.
I got it.
Yeah, we all know. Cody's going to be okay, James. I think the real question, James, is Cena the only corporate guy? Will there be more? CM Punk really wants to be at WrestleMania. Got your stopwatch out?
I'll be able to tell you if it was 5-2 just by
No, you won't. You will not. Come on, dude.
Oh, he is gonna run it shirtless.
You can if I watch Isaiah Bond run, I know he's hitting a 4-5. If I watch
Turn the cap on, put him on. Yeah,
I'm,
running the cap
I'm
backwards.
hurt for you right now.
I like it. Ready?
I'm hurt because I don't know why you're hurt.
He's not ready. Cole's not ready. He's figuring out his stance. He wants to figure out if he's going to go right foot forward or left foot
Although
forward.
if Rob's also holding
And,
okay. Yeah. I mean, you can zoom in and then zoom out as he's running by.
Cole, are you ready?
Who's running the board while they're doing this?
it looks like they
In 3, 2,
they just leave
1,
the board
go.
Yeah, I'm just curious
Here
about
comes.
that. If
Oh, he's
someone
quick,
was in
man.
studio while
He's
they
got
was in
power. He's got power off the line, and he's through.
It's faster than I thought, but it ain't 5-2.
2.
I'd have said a 5-5, 5-6.
Really? Would you have said that?
I'd have said a 5-6.
That doesn't make you accurate just because you would have said that.
JD said Steven saying Diesel ran a 5.9 is wildly inaccurate. Pretty sure it was a 5.4. Alex Guest, friend of the show, friend of the station, host on the station, texted and said, quote, personally, I don't think Cole hit 5.2, maybe 5.4. Diesel runs at $132 into the stream, then Cole, then Diesel again to try to beat Cole's. Diesel ran a 5.5, then a 5.9. And it makes sense. Your second 40 is always going to be slower than your first, with rare exceptions. I have watched Cole run this 40 twice so far.
Get ready, people, because it's going to be amazing what he's about to say.
Man. He's got power.
No, I might give him a 5.5. I might give him a 5.5. That is not 5.5.
Rob Brown is saying
man.
he can look at this and tell what time it is without using a watch, because in his head, it doesn't look fast, so there's no way it's a 5.2.
Quick.
Dude, you can watch a thing happen and not know the exact number, but still be able to get pretty close just by experience. I am looking at this as somebody who just spent the weekend watching the combine. You can tell the difference in 5-second speed and 6-second speed, 4.5 and 5.5. I can tell the difference in 5 to 5.5, 4.5 to 5. That's why they do the little like projection images on the screen where they like, this is that dude running and this is that dude running. You can see the difference in 4, 5, and 4, or 4, 5, and 5. This ain't 5.2 speed. It's 5.5, 5.6 speed, which is more than commendable.
No one's buying. I celebrate Cole
and
and Diesel for doing something that I can't do right now. I celebrate them both. They both look extremely fast.
I respect them going out and doing it.
You don't sound like you do. I respect them, and I believe if they say that's what they did, that's what they did. I'm not willing to go and get my own stopwatch and count it. I believe in Rob Jones, who's the assistant news director at WORD. He's not going to make that up. He's got a reputation. If Rob says that's what it is, it's what it is. your emotion, your anger. I don't understand. You should be praising our guys. And not only were they willing to go out there and put it all there. I mean, Cole took his shirt off. I mean, nobody else is doing that. And it's a amazing. Way to go, guys. You're not getting it from Rob, but you're getting it from me. Good job.
If I go play golf with a guy and this guy.
That's a leisure thing. It's not what they did with sport.
If I go play golf with a guy and throughout the round, this guy's improving his lie, right? He puts one in the straw and then he picks it up and moves it to the grass, or he hits one on the side of a hill and then he rolls it back so it's on the flat, or he knocks one to within 4 feet and he goes, that's a gimme, and picks it up and records a one or whatever. I don't care about that. Okay, cool. It's golf. I'm good with that. I don't care about that. Where I will care is if we get to the clubhouse and he goes, shot an 81 today. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You did not shoot an 81. You shot like a 96, and you credited yourself with an 81, though that's not what you did. If Cole and I go golfing and I shoot the ball 96 times, but I take 15 mulligans and I claim an 81, he ought to go, no, bro, that's not what you did. That's not what happened here. Like,
all
that's
I want
not
to say
it.
is Diesel and Cole, I hope you're hearing this.
I literally texted Cole and said, I'm talking about this right now, dog.
You think this is your guy? This is not your guy. I'm your guy. Okay.
No.
I'm your support. I'm always in your corner. This guy is just talking about seeing a heel turn. This is what we're getting right here.
You know what friends do? They keep you humble and honest. That's what friends do. A friend doesn't gas you up with a bunch of lies to make you feel like you're better than you are. That's not what
now
friends
they're
do.
lying. Who's lying? So is Cole
No,
lying? Is Diesel lying?
no.
Is Steven lying? Is Rob Jones? Who's lying? You just accused someone of lying. I want to know who's the liar.
You know what I am right now?
Who is the liar?
You know what I am right now?
Angry for no reason?
I'm not John Cena. I'm Kevin Owens. I'm right. You may call me a heel, that's fine. But I'm right. That's not. I love Cole. That ain't 5'2" speed. I'm like CM Punk. I'm not going to stab you in the back. I'm your friend. I'm going to stab you in the front.
How many times have you said "but" in the last two segments? If you have to say, "Yeah, I love him," but
he's got
that's
power.
that's
He's
a
got
sure
power
sign
off
that
the
you
line.
don't.
And he's
I mean, there's a whole lot of buts in there.
If I didn't, I wouldn't have texted him, but like, yo, I'm talking about you right now, dog. I'm talking about you on the show right now. I'd have been like, hey, whatever. He can figure it out.
Here's the thing, I've been texting them too. They just won't come on the show, and that's fine. I mean, last time Cole said he was busy. Now they just don't want to come on the show. And you know what? If I were them, I would not come on now either, because they're having to come on and defend your integrity means someone's putting it in question. You're putting their integrity in question. I am not. I believe them. You don't.
I'm not putting anything in question other than a claim of a 5'2".
Why would they come on here and defend anything?
I didn't ask them
they don't need to. Then
if
why
they
you texting
want to,
them?
they're welcome to.
Then why are you texting them?
To let them know. I'm like, yo, bro, just before it gets to you, so I don't want anybody texting me like Rob was talking smack about you.
Well, that never happens.
I'm telling you, I am.
In the history of this station, that's never happened.
Here he comes.
You
he's
come to the
quick,
stream
man.
and watch it. That ain't 5'2"
He's got
speed.
power. He's
Love
got
you,
power
Cole.
off the
That ain't
line.
5'2" speed. And for the record, before all of you start hitting me with he's faster than you, absolutely. He absolutely is. I'm not saying I'm faster than him. I'm saying 5'2", 5'2", 5'2", 5'2".
Listen, you hit 40 and then you get jealous of people, young athletes that are still able to do stuff that you couldn't do anymore. And, well, I'm not talking about Diesel, of course. I'm talking about Cole, because Diesel's older than you and probably can outrun you.
Is he older than me?
Yes, we've had this conversation before.
Yeah,
He
well, I
hit
don't
40
remember
last year, I believe.
I don't remember things. All right, we got a lot more we got to get into in the radio program today. James said, "Why are you booing me?" I'm right. That's exactly it. That's it. Texture said, and now people know why this show is a hard listen. Well, I mean, some people don't enjoy the 3-time South Carolina Broadcasters
And yet you listened long enough to send that text.
All right, let's get to some other stuff on the radio program. We have talked about the combine a little bit. Let's get into, as John Blau joins us here in about 33 minutes from right now, some of the audio blitz. Speaking of running the 40, Isaiah Bond. Nope, that's not the clip I was looking for. Let me take that one back. Let me go to this one. Joe Mazzulla, the head coach of the Boston Celtics, is probably my favorite guy in the NBA right now. Joe Mazzulla is my favorite head coach, maybe in sports right now, because Mazzulla is the dude that does not get into the coaching platitudes. After a Celtics game against the Celtics the other day, where this team had, I think Tatum went off for like 41 and they still lost. Mazzulla was taking questions and had what I think might be my favorite media/head coach interaction in a very long time.
Joe, it seems like when people are struggling to make threes or, missing shots, it's like, okay, they're in a slump. But when it's defense or rebounding or things like that, it feels like, okay, people are, players are being lazy or not.
Oh, man, dude, that is the most profound statement in my 3 years, is what you just said. The most profound statement of all time. Yes, it is so easy to blame effort as opposed to just make a shot.
So I'm wondering.
Our expected defense is number 1 in the last 10 games, and our layup percentage defense is number 1 in the last 10 games. And our expected points per shot defense is like number 3 in the last 10 games. But you know what our 3-point percentage is?
Not good.
28th. So, man, me and you are just going to grow in our relationship together. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Yes. God, man, finally. We do have to play better, though, on both ends of the floor. But go ahead.
You kind of answered it, but I was just wondering if you feel like maybe that sometimes that can be overlooked as like you're not in sync on other ends of the floor. Like maybe you're trying to get rebounds, but you're just not, you're out of rhythm or that sort of thing.
Let me be very clear. There's 10 to 12 possessions a game where we absolutely have to be better on the defensive end of the floor. I want to make sure I'm 100% clear of that, but it is very, very easy when things aren't going well to blame defense, effort, and it's very, very hard to let your brain or your heart rest in. We just got to be better offensively, and so you have to fight those two things. But it's we got to be better on both ends of the floor. But you just, like I said, most profound statement in 3 years.
I love that. I love everything
so
about
many
that interaction.
HR violations in that whole thing. The interaction between the two, I was uncomfortable.
Why?
I was very it was flirtatious.
I don't think it was flirtatious at all.
I mean, I don't know if he's married or not, but probably. And
if a man asked the question and he responded the same way, would you say it was flirtatious?
It was uncomfortable. It could be.
No.
It absolutely could be.
That was a head coach that was pointing out.
He was kind of talking down to her a little bit. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
He was.
He literally just said, I've been here 3 years. That's the most profound question I've gotten in 3 years.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. The fact that he destroyed the media and you didn't go at him.
Because he's right.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because he's right. It is, and this is something, and I did this earlier in the show. I might be guilty of it. It is something that I have viewed as a problem for a long time, and that is the people with the pencils and the pads and the mics and the headsets watching and breaking down sports as fans, not as analysts. He is exactly correct. The Boston Celtics have had games where the shots aren't falling, and their expected defensive numbers are through the roof. They're still winning games. And people have said, they're shooting too many threes. They're lack of effort. They're not that. They are dialed in. Sometimes the shots don't fall. That's sports. Sometimes things just don't click. And Joe Mazzulla pointing out that if you lean in on fan narratives, this team doesn't try very hard. This team's lazy. They're out of sync. Sometimes that's right. Sometimes the team is out of sorts. Again, I referenced this when we talked about Clemson's sweep of South Carolina over the weekend. I watched Sunday's game. South Carolina looked like it had laid down. It looked like a team that laid down. There are games where you just can't hit the baseball. There are games where the pitcher just has your number. There are games where, for whatever reason, your defense on the diamond's out of sync. In basketball, there are days when the shot just won't fall. There are days when the other team's offense is clicking and you can't keep up defensively. Those days absolutely exist. So when you take those days and you try to simplify it down to, they're lazy. They didn't work. They're out of sync. They're poorly coached. They're this, they're that. I don't think you're diving deep enough. I don't think you're getting into it deep enough. And Joe Mazzulla just pointed that out, and I love the take. When you look at a game where they shoot 22% from three, and then you go look at the defensive numbers and you go, wait a minute, they also held Cleveland to 36% from the floor. They weren't lazy. They just weren't having the shots fall. It's going to happen. I like this take. I thought this take was fantastic. All right, let's get this one in. This is Armand Membo. He's an offensive lineman from Mizzou. He lined up to run his 40. He didn't run a 5.2. He did give me the best audio from the combine.
That's 10. That's a good start. That is athletic. Look at him go. 4.91. It seemed like he let out a primal scream every 10 yards, and then the last 10 was just one long scream.
You know, I haven't heard the audio from Diesel and Cole. It could have sounded just like that. It's possible.
I'm pulling for this guy. I'm pulling for Mizzou offensive lineman Armand Membo, who was dying to set a 40 record.
How fast did he run?
Let's go find out what his final time was. That's a great question. Armand Membo, 40-time NFL Combine. Let's see if Cole Bryson's faster. A 4.91. 4.91. That's pretty solid. Let's see.
Here's the thing. I know you're pretty good at video, so you could pull his video, and you could put Cole next to him, and you could do that thing where they put people running at the same time. You could do that, and we could find out that way.
You know what? I'm good with that. We'll see how much, because Armand Membo
He'll spend
beat
5 hours
Cole.
doing that today.
Yeah, dude, it's all I'm going to do. This man, by the way, just in case you're curious, 6'4", and I'm never coming back to this website. All right, it's muted. We're good now. 6'4", 332 pounds. I'm going to go ahead and tell Cole he ain't 332 pounds. He's got that going for him, which is nice. He ain't 332. I respect that. Let's see here. Bum. Oh, speaking of the draft, we're 55 days away. A lot of question marks about who should draft what. Tiki Barber was talking about his beloved New York Giants and had a take on quarterbacks.
Everybody wants the quarterback. That's all I keep hearing. We need Shadir Sanders. We need Cam Ward. We got to get a quarterback. We got to get a quarterback. Well, I'm telling you, because I've seen it. And by the way, all of you have seen it as well. If you put a quarterback in a crappy situation, a terrible coaching, team, depth, whatever situation, they are going to fail. When you put young quarterbacks in bad situations, good things don't happen. The Giants have to have a good situation to put whoever that next quarterback is in. So stop obsessing about the quarterback, because even if he's the greatest thing in the world and you put him in a terrible situation, he is going to fail, period.
Thank you, Tiki Barber, other guy who knows ball. That's what I've been screaming for years. And yet we keep watching teams do this, watching quarterbacks fail, blaming the quarterbacks and not the franchises. Thank you, Tiki Barber. I don't care how good the guy is. You put him in a garbage franchise, you're going to get a garbage result. This is why I defended Bryce Young for as long as I defended Bryce Young. Because if you looked at the franchise in the state that it was in when he got there, it was very clearly a garbage franchise. Now, they've done a lot to get better, as we pointed out earlier in the show, or at least I did. Dave Tepper's gotten out of the way. When's the last time you heard from Dave Tepper, about Dave Tepper? Really haven't. The last couple of times we've heard about Dave Tepper was back in September when he opened up BOA for that concert to benefit Hurricane Helene relief, and when Charlotte FC started up and the conversation about turf or grass in the stadium popped up again. That's it. He's gotten out of the way. He went and got a GM who cares, a GM who's locked in on running the team, a GM who said, I'm running this team, not you. A head coach who fits what you have instead of trying to fit what you have to a head coach that you like. Everything that has happened in Charlotte since a year ago, almost exactly, has been good. And would you look at that, just about everybody has come around to, maybe this Bryce fella can throw the football a little bit. Maybe he can spin the bean a little bit.
Wow, how many wins did he get?
Yes, because, again, that's all that matters.
Okay, people on the radio don't know what you just did.
I pointed out my poster in the back that says wins and losses are not a quarterback stat. I really got to find a way to move that closer to the screen. Maybe I'm just going to get one of those stands just for that poster.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Right here.
You go ahead and do that.
Wins and losses are not a quarterback stat. I got some more sound for you. We got John Blau with the Post and Courier coming up at 8:40. And yes, whether you like it or not, I apologize to the great one. I can't wait till Fight Club to talk about the heel turn. So we will get some wrestling on a Monday. Deal with it. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. I like that little groove. That was tasty.
It's called Round Up the Cardigan.
It's very, you know what? Okay. It was a little, I would say, early Weezerish.
Or maybe it was more like Taylor Swift. I don't know, because Cardigan, Taylor Swift, I don't. No, if it was a WrestleMania sign, obviously, James, it would be up higher. The other thing is if you have to point down to a poster.
When the loving stops and the lights go down, there's not another living soul around.
Okay, that one's more out of the blue than anything you've been doing.
You woo me until the sun comes up, and you say that you love me. Say that you love me.
Today.
Oh, I guess it is about time to print out our WrestleMania sign. We could just point at the March Madness sign for like 2 more weeks.
Our WrestleMania sign should just say SCBA.
Oh, it should. Oh, that's a good call.
Not even the same band, Kane. What are you doing?
What version do you like, though? Top Loader or King Harvest? It's such a fine and natural sight. Everybody dancing in the moonlight.
Stop with the requests.
Everybody here is out of sight. They don't bark and they don't bite. They keep things loose, they keep them tight. Dancing in the moonlight. Everybody's feeling warm and bright. The stream is popping off today. Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate. The Fan Upstate on X, The Fan Upstate on YouTube, The Rob Brown Show on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. We'd love to have you.
By the way, Stream, I think you're popping. I don't think you're popping off because popping off is disrespectful. And the Stream would never be disrespectful.
Nah, popping off just like,
popping
off.
Popping off is like
It's the same thing.
It's like no, popping is like this thing is popping. Popping off is like you're coming at somebody.
All right.
This is so negative today.
I would ordinarily have put this clip inside of the audio blitz, but I'm going to put it here because I love it very much. The F1 series is getting back into action. Have had a couple of races now. Carlos Sainz is a racer, and in the F1 event this past weekend, when they were first getting the car out there, turning some laps, getting it up to speed, putting it through its paces, one of the things you got to do is you got to make sure that your radio works. You got to have that communication. There is nothing more important in any job or relationship than communication. You got to be able to talk. You got to be able to listen. You got to be able to deliver your message and receive one back. So Carlos Sainz in his car, turning laps, getting it up to speed. Well, it was time to test the comms with his pit crew chief.
Okay, Carlos, we will test the radio.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, to test the comms, they played Carlos Sainz, a little smooth operator. And my man was like, oh, what's that? I'm doing a $1.99 through a hairpin? That's all right. I got time to drop some smooth operator on the mic. I got some time to drop a little smooth operator. What a banger of a song, first off. Second off, Carlos Sainz. We have had a run of athletes who make me feel better about myself. We had Siwoo Kim on the PGA Tour a week and a half ago talking about knocking down 3 Red Bulls and a Tylenol PM to find his level. We had Kyle Busch interrupting a pod to drop off Zyn packs and mini bottles of bourbon. And now I got Carlos Sainz spinning circles in an open wheel, singing Smooth Operator to keep himself paced. I got to tell you, I went into last week thinking like, all right, about to turn 40. It's all on the downhill. I'm out of my prime. I'm past my peak. I'm never going to be the same guy. But I got golfers on Red Bull and Tylenol PM. I got NASCAR driver on Zyn and bourbon. And now I got Carlos Sainz spinning it down I-385 to Smooth Operator. Maybe I'm okay.
Hey, Rob, where's the H in shot A? I've never been able to find it.
I don't know. That's not the sound I was looking for. This is
Slade.
So good. So good.
I don't think I'll ever not laugh at that.
So good, man. Well done, Carlos Sainz. Didn't just take the Smooth Operator and let it play to test the radio. No. My man was like, oh, what's that? Time to shine?
There's some kids out there listening right now. They don't know that song.
Smooth Operator. It's on Spotify, kids. Go find it, all right? It's going to change your world for the better. One of those songs. That's on that list. There's like a list of songs.
Coast to coast, LA to Chicago.
That
Love for Sale.
If that song comes on, Rob Brown experiences a heightened mood.
Wait, is she singing about a gigolo?
I don't even know. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I obviously she's singing about a dude.
Yeah,
but
Coast to Coast, LA to Chicago, Love for Sale. That just sounds like it might be a gigolo. I don't know.
Let's see. Now I'm just reading over I'm just skimming over the lyrics. Diamond Life, Lover Boy, we move in space with minimum waste and maximum joy. City lights and business nights when you require streetcar desire for higher heights. No place for beginners or sensitive hearts when sentiment is left to chance. No place to be ending, but somewhere to start. Sure, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I think maybe she's just singing about a dude that like...
You skipped the chorus, though. The
chasing.
chorus is the part where it sounds like she's talking about him being a gigolo.
No need to ask. He's a smooth operator. I don't know. I don't know is the answer. Here's what I know. It's kind of like You know, there's a lot of those songs that, like, they're about something that you're like, I probably shouldn't be so happy and upbeat about this particular topic going on, but it's so damn catchy. I can't help myself. If Smooth Operator
You mean
drops.
like when Reba McEntire sold her daughter into
Fancy
prostitution?
First off, no. Reba was the daughter in that song.
Okay, my bad.
She was fancy.
My bad. Okay,
all right.
It was still about prostitution, though. Don't let your family down.
I didn't say it wasn't. I just said it's iconic, man. That's all. That's all. Smooth Operator's on that list of songs that if it comes on, I don't tell you, I'm in a good mood. I'm in a good mood. How can you not be? It's Queen's Don't Stop Me Now. It's AC/DC Shoot to Thrill.
Okay, you got me there.
It's I Can See Clearly Now. The Rain Is Gone. I Can See All Obstacles in My Way.
By who?
I don't remember.
Yeah, me either.
Some guy. Doesn't matter. Song's a banger. All right? So good on Carlos Sainz for going, you got Smooth Operator and I got a mic. How about the world's fastest karaoke? Karaoke at its fastest. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. All right. I got one more for you. Remember a couple months ago, we had college football bowl season going on. The Colorado Buffaloes made themselves a bowl game this year. Shedeur Sanders showed up to play in that bowl game, and Shedeur Sanders, when he came out in that bowl game, was rocking a specialty pair of signature cleats. Those cleats were New York Giants cleats. And it kind of sent the NFL world a spinning, right? They're like, uh-oh, is there behind-the-scenes conversation? Is Deion Primetime Sanders working the phones to try to get Shedeur? Shedeur is a quarterback. The New York Giants need one of them. Is this the direction we're going in? And that's kind of been a conversation. Could the Giants be in the move? They were reportedly interested in Matt Stafford before he re-signed with the LA Rams. They have been connected all weekend long to Aaron Rodgers and potentially bringing A-Rod of the football persuasion across town to be the newest quarterback of the NYG. And now we got this whole thing with Shedeur. Welp, Malik Neighbors, the rookie wide receiver going into his second year out of Louisiana State University, sat down with some media members to answer some questions. And, there was this exchange.
What did you think when you saw a couple, whatever it was last week, Shedeur with his Giants cleats?
No comment.
Now, I'm interested in that clip because it's one of two things. Either number one, it's Malik Neighbors being a wonderful New York Giant and playing into hashtag smoke screen season, which is a possibility. Or number two, Malik Neighbors has in just a year become one of the biggest divas in the National Football League. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is why this is the best time of year. I don't know which one's true.
Or maybe I can throw in a number three here. Maybe he knows that if that's not going to be the quarterback, then the quarterback that's coming in is going to go, all you want is Shedeur, and now you got me. So he's trying to stay out of it and not cause any strife. I mean, that's what I'm going to go with.
Maybe. All I know is my man hit the fastest. He hit a no comment faster than his 40 time. That's spectacular.
Players can't tamper, can they? It's only.
Yeah, no. I mean, they had. Gosh, who was it? Was it James Cook at the Super Bowl? One of the Buffalo Bills was on the NFL Net trying to sell his sales pitch to Myles Garrett to come to Buffalo. He's like, we're real close. I'm just saying. We got some good stuff going on here in Buffalo, Myles.
All I had to do was say D&D every Thursday, and you would have got Myles Garrett.
That's true. All right. I'm interested. Oh, I do have one more. I lied. I forgot about this one. Adam Thielen, Bryce Young, take it away.
In receiver meetings, no one knows what he's saying except for me. So Coach Moore will literally ask him a question, Xavier will respond, and then Coach will immediately look to me like, what did he say? And I have to translate, and then everyone's like, why are you the one who's translating? It doesn't make any sense. But for some reason, I just understand what he's saying.
You call out a play.
Yeah.
In practice, he comes to you and he starts talking to you. Hey,
I've gotten better too. Yesterday I seen him, and it was like a little loud where we were at, and it was dark. Yeah. So I'm like, All right, bro, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, I can't, like, we can't have a conversation.
That was Adam Thielen and Bryce Young. They were both on Cam Jordan's podcast from the Combine. Adam Thielen says, I have somehow become the official XL translator of the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young said, we were at a place that was dark and loud, and I straight up told him, I can't talk to you right now because I don't know what the hell you're saying.
Wow, that's so insensitive. It really is. I mean, take a little time, Bryce, and listen a little bit closer. Rob and I don't have any problem understanding him.
It is also
Adam Thielen has no problem understanding him.
Dan Morgan. I know you're listening right now because we are, again, 3-time South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year. We form the opinion of the Carolina Panthers here in the Upstate. Even if people don't know that I'm forming it correctly for them, they learn. Dan, I am willing to sign on right now as the official XL translator for the team. That's a lot of responsibility on Adam Thielen. That's a lot to put on this man's plate. All right, that's a lot to ask of the guy as he is trying to make sure that he continues to be the best wide receiver. Going to have a change in role on the offense likely upcoming this season, trying to continue the maturation process, helping Bryce Young grow as a QB. That's a lot of responsibility to put on the plate. I am happy to come up there to Charlotte, North Carolina. I'll drive back and forth every single day. I come here, do the show in the morning. I'll pop in the car as soon as it's done. I'll head up to Charlotte. I, Dan Morgan, am willing to be hired on right now. What a wonderful value, too. I'll give you a good deal. I'm willing to sign on right now to be the official Xavier Legette translator for the Carolina Panthers. I will just simply follow this man around, listen to what he has to say, and then put it into not Xavier Legette language for everybody else on the team. I feel like I would be an added benefit to the staff of the Carolina Panthers as the XL translator of the team. Just give me a call. Call my people, Dan Morgan. I'm ready.
What if part of the requirement would be you have to eat whatever's in his Tupperware and not ask what it is?
But my family is from the woods of southeast Louisiana.
So raccoon, you're good with it.
I can go ahead and tell you, with the exception of raccoon, which I'll happily try if XL says it's good, with the exception of raccoon, there's probably very little that XL has put on a plate that I haven't already had. All right? I eat boudin regularly. I'm here. Dano, give me a buzz, bud. I will make your team's life easier. I will sign on today. We can do a 1-year contract that runs from draft to draft. I will sign on as the official XL coordinator and translator for the Carolina Panthers. That is, I'm right here, pal. Just give me a buzz, Dan Morgan. I'm right here. Little Shadi on the way out. I almost want to talk to the chorus just to make sure we get there because, like, this song puts me in a good mood. When we come back, John Blau of the Post-and-Courier joins us. We'll talk about Clemson basketball. Just one game left on the regular season before we get to the ACC tournament. Clemson baseball sweeps the Gamecocks of South Carolina. We'll check in with his thoughts on the baseball weekend and more. All of that coming up after Shadi talks to us a little bit more on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Oh, I didn't get through the pre-chorus, did I?
You did not.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's not.
What I meant to say was, on the Rob Brown Show
it's still,
and the Fan Upstate.
It's still not there yet, dude. I mean, come on. All right, now you can do it.
Get to it. The Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. 100% I'm getting a phone call about that.
From who?
All right, guys, stepping away to get John Blau lined up. Y'all stay right there. We'll be right back. The Rob Brown Show continues right here and live on the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo Yu, and now joining us on the phone line as he does every Monday morning at 8:40 a.m. to talk a little Clemson Tiger athletics. He is a beat reporter, a young man doing outstanding work for the Post and Courier. Mr. John Blau joins us now on the show. John, my man, how goes it, partner?
It's good. How are you, Rob?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. How much running around the Palmetto State did John Blau do this weekend with the baseball team playing in Clemson, then in Greenville, and then over in Columbia? Did you get to all three? Did you get to any of them?
I did 2 out of the 3 legs. So I was at Clemson. I was in Greenville, which is actually where I live, so that was pretty easy. And then David Kleininger, our South Carolina reporter, took care of the third game. But we got it all covered as a paper.
Do you as the Clemson reporter and he as the South Carolina reporter, are there like text fired off between baseball sweeps having a little fun, or do we strictly keep it professional at the Post and Courier?
I can only speak for myself. I try to keep it professional. I think David might have a couple jabs every now and again, but I mostly ignore them. So
fair enough. He did not after this weekend, and we'll start with baseball, if you don't mind, John Blau, because while there are a lot of good things going on for the Clemson basketball team, and we'll come to that here in just a minute, you did get the in-state 3-game sweep. Again, this has been a series that, as of late, has been predominantly owned by the Clemson Tigers. On the sliding spectrum of Clemson beat South Carolina versus South Carolina performed poorly and Clemson took advantage, where do you have the meter set?
yeah, I mean, I think there were probably, obviously, if you're a South Carolina fan, there are moments where maybe there's a missed defensive play here or a missed opportunity on, bases loaded, didn't drive somebody in. But at the same time, if you're Clemson, the fact that the pitching gave up 6 runs in 3 games, I mean, you're going to be hard to beat if you're pitching at that level, if you're getting out of jams. Obviously, I think a huge question going into the weekend was how was Ethan Darden and Justin Legurnick going to hold up in a rivalry series against SEC hitters, and they were both fantastic. The bullpen continues to show that it has some depth to it, and so at the end of the day, I think Clemson did what it had to do to win. They had the timely hitting, they had the great pitching, and to win 3 games, to sweep your rivalry series. Baseball, you're bound to drop 1 game here or there, even if you win the series. To sweep is a pretty big statement. I mean, it shows that you're a pretty strong team, and that more times than not, you're gonna figure out a way to come out on top. And this weekend, it was the pitching just being outstanding.
I do not disagree with that at all. One of the things that we talked about more from the Carolina perspective earlier was I have some questions, and I'll handle this on a different segment, about Paul Mainieri coming in at 73 years old, been out of the game for a little while, and his ability to communicate with the young men, especially in year number 1 in that locker room. On the flip side, Erik Bakich is kind of the exact opposite. I'm watching my man out there on the mound during a Savannah Bananas exhibition with his shirt off, looking yoked as hell, dancing with the fellas. And I said on this show the next day, John, I'm like, that's the type of dude that kids want to play for. That's the type of dude that gets the fellas excited, that people want to be around. And I thought this weekend you saw that enthusiasm, that passion out of a Clemson baseball team that was playing as much for pride on the front of the shirt as anything else. Talk to me a little bit about what this team feels like with him as its leader so far early in this season.
Yeah, I think it was Paul Mainieri was actually saying that I think there was a joke about the coaches of South Carolina and Clemson. He almost thought they were going to fight each other. I think Mainieri said something like, have you seen Erik Bakich? Like, I wouldn't want to fight that guy. I'm like, again, close to 70 or whatever. And so, yeah, no, he definitely brings a certain intensity, focus, passion. You saw it. He talks about playing on the playground, that we're out there, we're just going to kind of let it hang loose. You saw it in that second game where Cam Catarella drives in a run, and they're bringing him all the way from second around third to home on a swinging bunt by Luke Gaffney. I mean, they do stuff. They really push the limits. They're very aggressive, and they just seem to, again, to in moments where other teams might fold, they kind of really bear down, they get the timely hits, they get the outs they need to get, and that's from Backus. He really talks about the mental side of the game. They basically meditate in their classroom sessions. He talks about slowing down the heartbeat. He really focuses on a lot of that stuff. So yeah, he's a young, up and coming, or maybe not up and coming, he has arrived coach who's doing good things at Clemson. And I think everybody's kind of excited about the trajectory he has them on.
Talk to me about the lineup in this game. 8 hits in the Sunday finale, which was the sweep. The bats were good. I mean, maybe not white hot, but we're also 11 games into the season. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to develop that chemistry. How good was the lineup from the plate this series for Clemson? And more importantly, how good do you think it can be over the course of the season with 40-some-odd games left to play?
Yeah, I mean, the most consistent bat has been Dominic Listy, the guy who's at the top of the order now, and actually wrote a feature about him last week, just the journey from Division III, a guy who's like a 500 on base percentage at Division III, and somehow maintain that at the Division I level. He's been a huge addition, just getting on base and kind of putting pressure on opposing defenses that way. And then, Cam Cantarello was a guy that had kind of a slow start. Luke Gaffney as well. They've started to heat up a little bit. Obviously, Cantarello with some big hits in the second and the third game. I think that kind of bodes well for them. At the end of the day, Priest had a huge home run. The Michigan transfer, he's been a little up and down, but, the up moments have been really big, particularly yesterday. So it seems like it's all kind of rounding into shape. They're still kind of moving some pieces around in the order, trying to figure it out because, Eric Backus came into the year saying he thought he had about, 12, 13 hitters, and obviously you can only play about 9, or literally only 9 each game. So it's a lineup that, that has not been hitting for power as much as last year. I don't know if they have the same amount of power, but I don't know if they need it. They have so many guys who can get on base, so many guys that any given day are going to be able to get the clutch hit. So I think right now it looks pretty good. Again, it wasn't overpowering until that last game where they kind of pulled away. But as long as they're pitching the way they're pitching right now, they should have more than enough lineup to win games.
John Blau from the Post and Courier joining us here and every Monday at 8:40 on the Rob Brown Show. Just 7 games, John Blau, until the ACC season starts off March 14th with a 3-game set against Notre Dame, 2 against the Citadel. Then it's Wake Forest, Coastal Carolina. We are starting to line them up just a couple of weeks from now. What do you want to see out of this program between here and that conference opener against Notre Dame?
Yeah, just like I was saying, the shifting of the lineup, just seeing them kind of land on a consistent, 9 and, rotate a little bit from there. I think they're trying to figure out between Andrew Chufo, Josh Pano, Tristan McClatty, who that infield should be. They've moved Pano around from third to shortstop to get McClatty in. They've moved McClatty to right field sometimes, and Tristan Becerra is in there. They kind of have to figure out between those 3 or 4 bats kind of who the best ones are. That's going to be an interesting thing. And then also just continuing to see that pitching staff continue to build out. Michael Gillen, a transfer from Seton Hall they really like. Haven't seen him yet. He's had back issues. If he gets back, kind of what does that look like? What does he add? Because right now, again, with Mason Dvorsky, Joe Allen, Drew Titsworth, Malstead, Reed Garris, they really seem to have a pretty deep pitching staff, and it might only get deeper. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when and if he comes back.
Let's flip over to basketball here for just a few minutes. John Blau from the Post and Courier joining us here and every Monday at 8:40 to talk Clemson basketball, baseball, football, soccer, whatever we get to. 71-58 win over the Virginia Cavaliers was never really in doubt in the second half. Trailed by 5 at the half, John Blau, but then outscored Virginia by what? I think like 28 in the second half. Just ran away in. Shefflin 21 points on 8 of 11 from the floor. The Tigers shooting almost 48% from the floor. What was it that stood out about this game, the penultimate game in the regular season for the Tigers?
Just the way Ian Shefflin continues to play. I mean, that's a guy who is battling through leg issues, back spasms, all kinds of stuff, and they were kind of letting him just be, again, it's almost defensive to call him the glue guy because he's got more skill than that, but he was almost kind of reverting to that role a little bit because he didn't have quite the juice he wasn't 100% healthy, and it seems like he's 100% healthy again. And back-to-back games with 20+ points for him. I think he had a double-double yesterday or 2 days ago as well. And so having him back in the mix, it really makes them dangerous because, you're not leaning as much. I think Chase Hunter had kind of a down game again. I think he's been dealing with a calf strain. But they were able to get through it because they have Ian Shefflin and, as Dabo Swinney now calls him, the lock and nest monster. The interior guys are really picking up the slack right now. So that's what's impressive. It's just that they're showing they have such versatility and who can score. And obviously, if they maintain the level of defense that they play, they should be really hard to beat.
2 games left at Boston College coming up on Wednesday, back home against Virginia Tech. Obviously, also keeping an eye on Louisville and Duke because a Cardinal loss and a Duke loss could end up being an outright conference win, could be a share of the conference. We'll see how all the tiebreakers and all that shake out, John Blau. But regardless of whether it's first, second, third in the ACC's regular season standing, catching a bye in the ACC tournament, are we going to be able to label this a successful regular season? I know we've won more ACC games than ever before, but does the success of the season have anything to do with the standings in the ACC tournament, or are we kind of turning the eyes towards March Madness already?
Yeah, for me at least, it's turning the eyes to March Madness. Obviously it was a huge thing to go to the Elite Eight last year to have that program momentum, but you wanted to see them get back to the NCAA tournament to follow that up, and obviously replacing some huge pieces with PJ Hall and Joe Girard and some of those other guys, and to be able to bring those pieces back together, have a team that, like you said, won the most ACC games of any team. Clemson to be basically in the NCAA tournament. I think even if they lost these last couple games, I don't think they are. They didn't have a great showing in the NCAA tournament. They're probably, the ACC tournament, they're still probably making the NCAA tournament. So just getting back there, I think, is huge. And the way they're playing right now, the continuity, the momentum that they have, gives you hopes that they have a chance to make a run again. So I think, they've done a lot thus far. Obviously, they want to finish it and continue to do more. But for me, I think they've accomplished a heck of a lot already just with what they've done.
John Blau from the Post and Courier joins us every Monday at 8:40. The next time we speak, we will know exactly where Clemson is seated in the ACC postseason tournament. My man, thank you very much. Go take a very well-deserved Monday afternoon siesta, sir.
I will try. Thanks, Rob.
That a boy, John Blau, Post and Courier. We appreciate his time this and every Monday here on the Rob Brown Show. When we come back, final hour of the show belongs to you. The phone line, 844-326-3663. The text line, 844-326-3663. What do you want Lonzo and I to get to talk about, to discuss, to answer? We're going to talk about LeBron's comments on being the face of the NBA. We are going to talk about the biggest heel turn in professional wrestling since 1996 and more. In the final hour, that's all after the Hulk Hogan of Sports Flat, the John Cena of the Rock of Sport, the Steve Austin of Sports Flashes, Lonzo.
I don't know if I'm going to go with the Shawn Michaels. Just a sexy boy. Exactly. South Carolina women's basketball team claimed a share of the SEC. He sounded like a Muppet. A share of the SEC regular season title with a 78-66 win over Kentucky yesterday. Tessa Johnson had 16 off the bench, while Tiana Pau led the starters with 13, and Chloe Kitts added 12 and 10 rebounds with the win. The Gamecocks claimed a share of the SEC regular season title, split with Texas as both end the season with a 15-1 record, but South Carolina gets the nod thanks to winning a coin flip. Carolina Hurricanes knocked off the Calgary Flames last night 2-1 in overtime. Sebastian Aho scored his 5th overtime winner of the season, the most of any player in the league to date. Tune in to Saturday at 8 p.m. as Furman Paladins take on the Sanford Bulldogs in the first round of the SoCon basketball tournament. It's Furman versus Sanford right here. We're home for Furman Paladins basketball. The Fan, Upstate. Right, exactly, James. He dove through that window trying to make Sean look bad. We all saw it. It didn't work. I had a chance to interview Marty, but I couldn't go through with it because he'd been having a lot of fun that evening, and I wasn't too certain about how he would be on air. Saying sometimes you gotta make those decisions, especially when you're live and in person somewhere. So I ate a Whataburger for the first time over the weekend.
You did?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It was good. I mean, I don't know that it's what the hype is, but yeah, I think you have to eat somewhere more than once. But what I had was good.
What'd you get?
I got a avocado burger.
Nice.
You know, with all the guac talk Friday. I had to give me some avocado.
More than fair. I'm a patty melt guy at the burger.
Well, this was on it was on Texas toast, so it wasn't like I mean, so it was almost like a patty melt. Cameron got something with jalapenos on it.
Something with all the jalapeno bacon burger?
It was a burger. Yeah, I couldn't remember it. It probably was that. Yeah. You liked it. It had some after effects. So. Just saying.
Happens to the best of us.
Battle putt. Was it on the Ocho?
Okay, if Trey, I think I've seen that before. It's like beer pong, but it's putting. It's like a long putting green with beer cup on the end, and when you knock one in a hole, you put a little piece to cover that part of the hole on. I have actually considered getting one of those for Greenville Triumph games. Yes, yeah, that's it. I think I might get one for the Triumph tailgates. That is one of my 3 favorite things you've ever said on the show. The Angel Reese promo played over the weekend, and I almost had to pull my car over.
You gotta really be a sports fan to get the Angel Reese thing, though. I mean,
it was a hell of a moment, and to start the show out of the gate
again. I will never forget that, the amount of restraint I showed during that.
And off we go into the final hour of the Rob Brown Show right here on The Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you. 60 minutes separate us from not being on the air anymore. I was going to build it up more than that, but it's Monday. We got a lot of radio left.
Well, not until tomorrow. It's not like you make it sound like this will be the final time that we would be on the air, unless you know something I don't know.
I did. It's 2025, probably 11-ish years ago. I did a 24-hour takeover on my old station. I did Saturday from midnight to midnight on my old station as a charity event. Basically, it was kind of like, I got people to send an X amount of dollars for every hour I was going to do, and I did 24 straight hours. Now, I will be honest and say I was a bit liberal in sprinkling in a few minutes of break every now and then, but I did 24 hours, midnight to midnight, live on the air, and I said, after that, I'll just cut a check to charity myself from now on. I'm never doing that again. It was rough. By the end of that 24 hours, I did not sound great. It did not at all. I'd do it again. I don't want to, but I would. All right. I think, and I'm going to preface this with an apology to the great one for not waiting until Fight Club on Thursday, but I think we have to get to it.
No, this is relevant. Whenever anything major happens during a PLE, we definitely should talk about it.
Not just major, but like the majorist. I got on Saturday night 3 requests to go on 3 different shows on Sunday morning to serve as a wrestling analyst because of how big this was. 2 of them nationally syndicated, 1 local. John Cena turns heel and joins forces with Dwayne at the end of the Elimination Chamber. Now, in retrospect, I think it's obviously easy to say it looked like it was pretty much always going to be the course. The second that they announced that a conversation between Cody Rhodes and John Cena, between Cody Rhodes and Dwayne Johnson, was going to serve as the main event of the evening, that was like, okay, something's going to happen. And then when Dwayne came out and John Cena didn't clear the ring, it was like, are they going to do this? Yeah. And even knowing that it was coming at that point, it's still, as I told Sean Marash yesterday morning when I was on his show to talk about this, I said, I want to point out that Sunday at 10:30 in the morning, John Cena was still the number 1 trending topic on social media, nationally, not regionally, nationally, the number 1 trending topic.
Still trending right now, by the way.
Without a doubt, and it's going to be for a couple of days. Marash was like, can you put this into terms that a non-wrestling sports fan might understand? Why are all of you old weirdos still talking about this? And I said, Sean Marash, I don't even have to go that far back in time. Do you remember Saturday night at 12:20 in the morning when Shams dropped the Shams Wow? I did working on a nationally syndicated radio, and I'm pretty sure they're stealing it.
Way to go, you.
Did you remember at 12:20 on that Saturday morning when Shams dropped the Shams Wow that Luka Doncic had left the Lakers or left the Mavericks and become a Lakers? And he said, yeah. And I said, okay, that times a couple, right? That would be the only way that would be comparable is if Luka had been a Maverick for like 20 years, if Luka and the Mavericks had spent 20 years saying it's never happening, and if Luka had spent 20 years and was averaging 28, 10, and 8 the entire ride.
And had won some championships.
And had won a handful of
a lot of championships.
Like 16 of them, to be specific, as a Mav. And then just out of nowhere, Luka comes out one night after spending 16 years winning 16 titles, averaging 28, 11, and 8, and saying, I'm never leaving, I'm never leaving, I'm never leaving. If at 12:20 at night he grabbed a mic and he said, I demand a trade, you'd all be like, yo, what now? The hell? What is that? On the list of great turns, I would say great one. That this checks in right behind Hogan is the third man and right ahead of Shawn Michaels kicking Marty Jannetty and Marty Jannetty trying to escape through the barbershop window.
Yeah, I got to go with this as number 2. And
behind Hogan?
Yeah, it was a little obvious when I'm going, don't go in for the hug. Oh, here we go. And when he went in for the hug, it's like, it's time. And I think John Cena has played more villain roles in Hollywood than he's played good guy roles.
Sure.
So not really that much of a shocker. Peacemaker, not really. I mean, he's kind of a good guy, but he's not really.
Anti-hero.
Yeah. So what if I think they're going to make this be that Cena's doing this because he wanted to win the championship, and this is the only way he could guarantee it. It's not so much of being The Rock's guy. It's using The Rock to get what he wants.
So Joey B popped in the chat. Joey B, P1, captain in the Armada.
James, Seth Rollins, that's up there too.
Trustable, I would say the Shield breakups in that conversation too. Trustable Wrestling Voice said, I was shocked, but not in a good way. Nobody wants to boo a legend about to retire. I don't trust them to follow through, and Rock interjecting himself in yet another main event story is annoying. Here's the thing. Joey B, my gut reaction was the exact same thing. But, and I will acknowledge this might turn into one of those times where I fantasy book myself into a place that I want it to go, that I go, okay, if they go this direction, I'm okay with it. Maybe they go a different direction. I'm 100% going to give it a shot, right? Because I will put myself in the we that has wanted to see a heel turn for a very long time. Of course, I do. Here's what I think you're getting here. The whole time, this Dwayne The Rock Johnson character, dating all the way back to his feuds with CM Punk before he left and went to AEW and was gone for 100 years, the whole premise of that character was Hollywood The Rock, right? It was The Rock going to Hollywood and getting famous and making this money and using that power and that influence to get what he wants. And that's obviously the story that they started here, was he wanted to have Cody Rhodes join his little corporate stable so that he could utilize that. It's just now, instead of being Hollywood The Rock, now he's corporate The Rock. And wrestling will 100% recycle stories and tell them from different angles. And I think that's what you're getting here. You're getting another the corporate power that be angle, except instead of Vince and instead of Triple H and Steph, now it's Dwayne that is in charge.
But the thing is, the Cena deal is much like the Hogan deal. I mean, very, very close, because they're a bunch of kids who have grown up being Cena fans. They know about all the Make-A-Wish requests for Cena. They know all the good stuff that he does, and they've only known this, and they've never been betrayed in this way. There are children who are now teenagers, maybe some in their 20s, who've never been betrayed this way in wrestling, and so that's why it's such a big deal to them. To us, we've seen it happen before. It's been a long time, but we've seen it happen before.
I agree, and I would say I think a lot of those kids were probably around when Seth Rollins turned on the Shield, and I don't know if this is probably even, this isn't probably, this is even bigger than that. But I would also say, okay, like it's wrestling.
Shield's kind of heel on heel action. Now. I mean, they've towed that line sometimes, but they were predominantly heel.
Again,
this is a good guy doing this.
So to me, what you can do here, obviously, is that story of John Cena, who for the first time in his career wants to put himself first, wants to put himself over, and recognize that Dwayne The Rock Johnson is the guy who has the power to put everything behind John Cena to make that happen. Everything he said to Cody, I can make all your dreams come true. Whatever you want to happen, I can make it happen. I can set you up for your kids. I can set up your kids' kids and your kids' for life. And all you got to do is be my guy. I will tell you honestly, that promo that started this whole thing, I hated it. Honestly, I was like, what is this, right? He's not a heel. He's not a face. He's on one hand coming out and going, finally, The Rock is back in New Orleans, Louisiana. And then he turns around a minute later and says, shut up before I slap the syphilis off your mouth. Like, what's the take here? What does that even mean? And now we know. And now we got it. There was that moment at the last PLA where Dwayne came out for 6 seconds at the end and held up that 3, and we're like, what is he doing? And now we realize he was literally holding up John Cena's hand signal, but he reversed it. Just like he did, but like it turns out pretty good story. This is why I say, even if I don't like where it's going, I'm always going to give it a chance because you never know what's going to come out of it. So I would say that I really like this because not only does it have Dwayne's character of the final boss back in not just relevance, but like coherent. It makes sense now. You also have taken the Hulk Hogan of our day in John Cena, and you have taken that character 180 degrees, but it took you 20 years to get there. That's a long payoff. And I think this is the important part. You've made Cody Rhodes an interesting face, which I don't think he has been in a while, with the exception of the ladder match against Kevin Owens, and even that was only because you were teasing a Cody heel turn by having him snap and almost kill Kevin Owens in that match.
That's what I was going to say. This is best for business because this is about Cody. This is
for sure.
This is building Cody up even more.
Absolutely.
Will he lose at WrestleMania? I think he might.
I do too.
Probably because of interference or other things from The Rock, and then Cody's chasing again, and that's when he's more interesting, is when he's chasing.
100%. I don't disagree. A face champion, a good guy champion, is always going to run the risk of being boring. It just is. Because at the end of the day, the face being the underdog and having to chase is interesting. Once they have accomplished that thing, now they're the champ, they're going to be challenged all the time. Like, there's no appeal to that. Now you have effectively created a world in which Cody is chasing and not being chased. Now, he's not chasing right now because he's still a champ, but I think at this point, now it's having to, even as the champ, stare down what feels to be insurmountable odds. Because it's not just that you're up against John Cena at WrestleMania. And it's not just that you were up against superpowered John Cena. It's also up against John Cena, superpowered, with the backing of another bona fide all-timer in Dwayne and a bona fide Hall of Famer in Dwayne who runs the company in kayfabe at this point. So now you have this spot.
He does kind of run the company.
I mean, he kind of does, but in kayfabe, he definitely does. So now, not only, Cody's got the belt, but he's got the belt and he's staring down two of the living legends of this sport and two of the living legends in this sport who have control of the company and can set everything in John Cena's power at this point. I think that's very compelling. And more importantly, you can have Cena win at Mania. He gets 17. He does it in a way that, for me anyway, and I may or may not be in a minority in this, I wanted to see a heel turn for a very long time. I wanted to see John Cena be a bad guy for a very long time just to see how that plays out. I'm going to get that. And not only do I get 17, him breaking the record, Cody goes back to being the chaser, not the chased. On top of that, now you have this whole new story for John. One more story for John Cena on his way out the door to drop the belt, but to find redemption on the way out the door, which is at the end of the day how I think a 17-time champ should go out.
Well, absolutely. And Ric Flair is all up in arms, knowing that record's gone and that Cena's going to win the title. Also, The Rock kind of likes Cody's blood for some reason. Isn't that weird? That he keeps getting it and rubbing it on things. It's just odd.
I mean, listen. I think you know what it is. It's like when Mox did that a couple of years ago. It's that moment where, especially in a company in WWE, and Cody got busted open. In a company in WWE that only goes for it. I had this conversation. I was actually talking about this on Twitter the other day. Every now and then, you'll hear a wrestler call another wrestler up. And every now and then a wrestler will tell another wrestler to go themselves. But they do it once in a blue moon. Why? So that it's impactful. I'm an AEW fan. I want it to be great. It's been struggling a little bit. And one of the things I think they did, even as somebody who is fine with bad words and blood on my wrestling, because, hey, that's how fighting works, right? They do it so much that there's zero impact to it. It's just another thing. When The Rock does it, even though he's only done it twice, when he does it and he wipes it on that weight belt that says Cody's soul, it's just that trigger moment of like, oh, oh, dude's lost it. He snapped. He's over the top. As opposed to when Mox does it and you're like, there's Mox bleeding again, because that's what he does, which is sad because I'm a big John Moxley guy. I want him to be great. But when that extreme is the only extreme, Cody Rhodes telling The Rock to go bleep himself was so far out of this white-hot babyface character they've built for 5 years running now that I was in bed. I was watching this in bed. The wife was asleep next to me, and Cody said, go yourself, and I, out loud, audibly, next to my sleeping wife, went, holy...
You know you have the clip.
Yeah, but it sounds really bad.
Yeah,
I tried
okay.
to play with it a little bit. I couldn't clean it up.
So before we get to the phone call, Ron Killings, friend of the show,
In shambles.
Just X'd 2 minutes ago. What about C Nation? What about the fans? John, are you for real saying bleep them kids? Asking for a friend.
Bleep them kids.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah.
Our truth is tore up over this, man.
I think that was the one more thing, and then we're going to get to the phone line here and take a call real quick before we go to break. I think the other thing that intrigued me that I like about all this is that John Cena has been around for so long that everybody has some sort of history or interaction with him. There's something here for Truth. There's something here for Punk. There's something here for McIntyre. There's something here for Rollins. There's something here for just about every one of the boys in the locker room. And everybody, this can be, much like the Daniel Bryan run up to 30 was, this can be a scenario that allows everybody in the company to have some sort of interaction with it. And to me, wrestling, again, at its best, when I don't know what's going to happen, and B, when it does not feel like it's 10 isolated stories that don't interact with each other, but all of them are layered and overlap in different ways because they all work together in the same building. They're all going to have conversations. When guys act like they watch the show as opposed to just show up, do their 10-minute segment, and leave, it's better that way. So I think we're onto something here. All right, let me get Bully Ryan here real quick before we get up for the break. What's up, big dog?
What's up, big dog? How you doing?
Real good, pal. Real good. What you got? We got about a minute and a half. Give it to me.
So this isn't just about John Cena.
John Cena.
It's also something that we haven't really talked about because John Cena is the focal point. This is also setting up for something with Roman Reigns and The Rock because Cody Rhodes is the one that came to his defense when it came to the new bloodline. And so now he's going to need backup when it comes to this new authority with John Cena and The Rock. So I've got a feeling because this is what they wanted to do last year, this is also sort of the final stand for the final boss. And this is going to turn into another opportunity where we're finally going to get heel Rock versus babyface Roman, and it will be like one of those big storyline turns. Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to throw that out there that this is setting up for something even bigger and more powerful as the final stand, not just for John Cena this year, but also for The Rock. Thanks, Rob.
Appreciate you, big dog. I agree wholeheartedly. I think it is. We didn't get our Rock Roman main event, which was the setup for a while there. You can have that now. It allows you to, without losing the heat he's built up, to give Roman a run as face before he reverts back to being the tribal chief, the OTC, the big dog. I think that's great. It allows you to have something with Rock. You got Cena and Cody Rhodes, which puts your biggest babyface versus the biggest babyface of day gone by. But again, there's also all these other characters that touch in. This is phenomenal, but I want nothing more. And Monday Night Raw is must-watch television tonight. It's going to be the first time I've watched Raw live in I don't know how many weeks. Lonzo, I don't want anything more in the world than friend of the show R-Truth calling John Cena out. I need that segment. And I don't know if it goes down with Truth joining Cena or Cena breaking Truth into a billion pieces. I don't care. Give me friend of the show R-Truth trying to pull John Cena back to face territory. It's going to be legendary. All right, your thoughts, 844-326-3663. Let's get to LeBron's comments on being the face of the NBA next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, give me 30 seconds. Be right back. Thanks for hanging out, dudes and dudettes.
Did I tell you about the toothpick?
No.
All right, so it's either a toothpick or some sort of splinter got stuck in the rug. I didn't see it, and I was walking into the kitchen, and I was impaled to the point where Cameron's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Come here," and he had to pull the thing out. It was, yeah. There may be also a conspiracy that the cat was trying to get me.
Oh, is that the house?
Yes. And also, I hate rugs with all my being. Nothing good ever happens with rugs. You're going to start hating rugs when you start tripping over them as an older person. I'm just saying.
I got rugs all over my house.
I know, which means you're in a death trap.
We also have, outside of the runner in the hallway, we do not have a rug that doesn't have furniture all over it.
Oh, okay, that
Like
helps.
our living room rug has our coffee table. The couch sits on it. There's an end table on both sides of the couch to hold the corners down. The rug by the door has the door side table on it because it's longer. The only rug without a piece of furniture is our hallway runner.
Well, the scary part is it went in my big toe pretty big. When he pulled it out, it did not bleed. And it's like, okay, why is it not bleeding? Maybe I'm undead. I don't know. Perhaps I am a zombie.
So, LeBron James said something over the weekend that was very interesting. We had the conversation last week because Charles Barkley on Inside the NBA on TNT said that there is no official face of the league. There is no guy that has, a title that says face of the league. That's not how it works. The face of the league is somebody that is effectively emotionally selected by fans that we choose to de facto represent us. It was Mike, and then it was Kobe. You could argue for a season or three, it was Shaquille O'Neal, and whether you liked it or not, it was LeBron James. I was going to say John Cena again. It was LeBron James. The face of the league torch to Mizo, is this unfair? Still LeBron James? Still the face of the league?
Yeah, who else would it be?
Yeah, I mean, there's other guys. I would argue, honestly, I'll tell you who I think it should be is Jason Tatum. But the public isn't on board with that yet. And I don't know if it's because they built their own big three with him, D. White, and Jaylen Brown, but I would say Jason Tatum should be face of the league.
There's also a certain amount of popularity that goes
Also
with
that.
it worldwide, and a lot
Jason
of
Tatum's
other
not out
things.
there promoting himself to get that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And Jason Tatum's not the guy that's, showing up on commercials and doing movies and jumping on the interviews every night. Jay Tate seems to be a dude that's perfectly happy to go out, drop a 41 spot on Cleveland, lose, and go home. LeBron, on the other hand, obviously has beyond maximized his publicity. That's why he is a billionaire. It is not just the basketball money. It's all the other media money that's coming from being a star. LeBron James the other day, Friday, I believe, was doing post-game commentary. And there was a conversation going around because when Luka got sent to the Lakers, obviously LeBron is the face of the league. Certainly the face of the Lakers. And the conversation went that Luka Doncic was going to be the face of the Lakers, and if he was the face of the Lakers, potentially the face of the league. And there's been other discussions. Anthony Edwards, different guy, different Anthony. Anthony Edwards up in Minnesota has openly said, I don't want to be the face of the league. Which is good because he's doing a great job of stopping himself. 13 technical fouls, and now he got suspended for some time. So maybe not the guy a lot of people want as the face of the league, but he has said, despite his spectacular performances in the NBA when he's not suspended, that he doesn't want to be the face of the league. There have been other guys who have said the same thing. Some who have said, I'd love to be the face of the league, and maybe they're just not there. It doesn't matter. Whatever. The point is here, LeBron was being asked about all of this in the locker room after their game on Friday. A season in which, by the way, through 53 games, just in case you're keeping track, the 40-year-old is averaging 25 points, 8 boards, 8.7 assists, and Lonzo on the season is shooting 52% from the floor. And that's only going to get better with Luka in the lineup. I think the points per game will probably go up closer to 26.5. I think the assist might fall off a little bit just because LeBron's not the point guard anymore. Luka Doncic is. But I think the rebounds and the points are going to go up. This guy's going to finish this year with redonk numbers. So LeBron got asked about face of the league. Should it be Luka? Should it be Ant-Man? Should it be somebody else? Whatever. And LeBron said the following, and I didn't get time to censor it before it started, so you're going to have to bear with me. But he said, quote, "Why do you want to be the face of the league when all the people that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody? Obviously, I didn't ask for it. I feel Ant. I understand. This is weird energy when it comes to that." And I'm going to tell you, I agree with him wholeheartedly. We talked about this during the All-Star Game week, right? Forget the All-Star Game week, the All-Star Game, we talked about this. We talked about the fact that during the game, Kevin Hart was bleeping on the players. Everybody on a mic that wasn't earned was absolutely bleeping on these players. Former players are bleeping on the players. I heard a segment the other day, and I got to tell you, I am sincerely enjoying the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett podcast that they've been doing. I've gotten it in segments and clips, but I have very much enjoyed their pod, and they do it. They're like, oh, these fellas wouldn't understand. These fellas wouldn't get it. These fellas, they wouldn't survive back in our day. I'm like, guys, you've been retired 10 years, right? Like, you didn't play in the 70s. Relax. Well, they wouldn't survive in the physical days of the Big Three in Boston. The physical days of the league. LeBron's got a point, man. Like, and I know some of you go, Rob, just watch the product. You can see it. It is definitely a different game. Nobody's disagreeing with that. It was, I'm trying to remember. Somebody had Adam Silver on the other day. Was it Colin Cowherd, maybe? Rich Eisen. One of the big heads had commish Adam Silver on. And they were, because Adam Silver definitely wanted to know what they had to say, making all their suggestions about how to make the league better. And it was, move the three-point line back, get rid of the corner three, extend the free throw line on more of a parabola. So like where it curves, just keep it going to the sideline so that there's no corner three. Move it back 1.5 feet. The point was these guys are so much more freakishly athletic than they were back in the day that three-pointers are not the challenge that they used to be back in the day. And I don't even disagree with that. It's gotten to a point where, and somebody did the math on this, I don't have it in front of me, but I do remember the results of it. Effectively, what was said was, if you're an analytics guy, you've looked at the shot chart now where, X% of, it used to be that the shot chart for an NBA game had a big blur underneath the basket, a big blur around the three, but it had a good, healthy selection of shots that were mid-range jumpers. And now the shot chart is basically a big blob under the basket and then just a solid arc around the three-point line. And there's a reason for that, which is just percentages. If guys are shooting, let's use LeBron, 52% from the floor, 52%, let's say 45%. Let's make it even more dramatic. 45% on the mid-range J, and they're shooting 40% from three. Mathematically speaking, it makes more sense for them to only shoot three-pointers because the difference in shots missed if you're taking the same amount of shots per game. The mathematical difference between shooting 45% in the mid-range, Jay, and 40% for three more than makes up for the missed shots with the additional points being racked up by threes. It really is an analytics reason that the shot chart looks the way that it looks. So I'm fine if we want to make some changes. Adam Silver said, look, we don't want to be reactionary. We don't want to dramatically change the game of basketball because of something that has been a conversation for 6 months, which makes sense because, again, I don't know how quick or if it would happen, but if the NBA changes its floor and its three-point line, likely college basketball is going to follow. Likely high school basketball is going to follow. Likely every level outside of like youth basketball is going to follow that. And the NBA is like, we don't want to dramatically change the game, which I understand. But regardless of how we feel about it, the reality of the situation is that when a radio host gets the commissioner of the NBA on and then directly craps on the game to the commissioner of the NBA, that's an image issue. And LeBron is saying, and I think correctly so, why would anyone want to take up the mantle of face of the league when this league is crapped on even by itself more than any other league? You wouldn't, right? Now, for the record, I don't really care who the face of the league is. I don't care if it's Ant Edwards or Jason Tatum or Luka Doncic or LeBron James or Steph Curry or anybody. I don't care who the face of the league is. I care that the league is good. The association is good. And I feel like the NBA can't fix itself. The NBA can't make itself better. When I tune on the TV every morning when we set up to do the show, and more often than not, all I see is talking heads, including former players, talking about how bad it is. Oh, it's bad. It's bad. It's really not bad. To me, it's as good as it's ever been. Maybe it's not as physical as it's ever been. But the athletic prowess of the boys playing it is as good as it's ever been. Anybody who thinks LeBron wouldn't get dropped in the 90s and go for 35 points a game is just wrong. But when I tune in and I listen to these guys constantly crap on it, LeBron's right. He's right. The NBA hurts itself more than we do. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Someone put up selling a piece of history, my commemorative chair and ticket stub from the night John Cena turned heel. I'll start the bidding at 30 souls. And Zach, I don't think anyone knows why Travis Scott was there. I mean,
same reason Logan Paul's there.
Yeah, I guess it's for
pop culture.
I
The guy's one of the
suppose.
most visible celebrities on planet Earth. If you can put that in. Now, I did get the impression. I could be wrong. I got the impression that Travis Scott was supposed to come out, hype up The Rock, and then go back into the back. And then he was just like, "Yeah, no, I'm going out there." He slapped the bejesus out of Cody Rhodes.
He did.
Slapped the crap. Rock said in the postgame presser, like, he slapped the bleep out of him. And apparently, from what I understand, again, dirt sheets, take it what it's worth. Apparently, that was actually part of the show. And Rock told him, actually slap him. Because what we don't want to do is have you throw a work slap and miss and look dumb. So just go ahead and get him. And Cody was like, oh, yeah, for sure. Buddy, he punched him. He punched him with an open fist.
I've seen that Cena and Cody won't be there till the 17th. I don't know how accurate that is.
I mean, you can sell Cody not being there tonight because he got his ass whooped and he's in a local medical facility.
That's funny.
Buddy, slay.
No, it'll just be 2 weeks of R-Truth explaining why that didn't really happen, that people didn't see what they thought they saw, and that John Cena would never turn his back on Cody Rhodes. Or the emotional trauma is going to be so much that R-Truth will start talking to little Jimmy again. Ric Flair says that he will show up, fight through security to stop Cena from beating Cody.
Okay. I don't think Ric Flair could show up and fight through me.
Yeah. He's putting out workout videos right now. I saw one earlier. He's getting ready.
I saw Rick's last match ever 3 years ago. He didn't look great then.
Zach, if you really don't know who Little Jimmy is, just look up R-Truth and Little Jimmy. Although R-Truth told us that where Little Jimmy is.
He's at camp.
Is at camp. Yeah. Way to go, Trey. It's a great trophy.
Final segment of the Monday edition of the radio program. Somebody floated this at me. Great one. And I want to float it at you because it's a NFL take that I had not yet considered. Cody Decker floated this at me, and I said,
Slade.
Because it's a good take. I said, that's 84-year-old Joe Gibbs, by the way.
Slade.
And it's my favorite new clip. I will play it all the time.
Don't combine that with old. Because then it would sound like murder is about to be committed.
The vibes are unmatched.
I got like 4 of them out of that. This is so good. So here's the take Cody Decker threw at me, and I heard it, and I was like, ooh, you might be onto something. Last week, we were talking about, obviously, the NFL's quarterback carousel. We were looking to see. Now we know where Matt Stafford was going to land. He's going to stay with the Rams for one more year. Where is Sam Darnold going to end up at? Because it really just doesn't make sense for the Vikings to keep him. He's going to be out there. And one of the takes that I had during the initial conversation pre-Stafford re-signing with the Rams was that I don't think that there's a market for Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers might get forced out of the league. I don't think there's a market for him based on what we've seen out of his performance with the Jets the last couple of years and the fact that even the Jets were like, yeah, no, we're all right. We're good. We'll roll with who's there? I don't remember who the backup now is. That other guy. That's where it was. So we got to talking about this on Saturday, and Cody Decker said, where do you think Rodgers is going to end up?
Is there backup Zach? What's his name?
No, he's somewhere else now.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Tyrod Taylor, actually.
Okay.
I think Tyrod Taylor's still there.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
He hasn't made it to.
Tyrod Taylor's everybody's backup.
He hasn't made it to the backup commercial on TV yet.
He
probably should though.
If any quarterback in the league goes down, I just assume Tyrod Taylor's checking in next. So Dex said, our producer said, who ends up where? We were just kind of labeling who's going to end up where. And when we got to Aaron Rodgers, I said, I think he ends up unemployed. I don't think anybody's going to want him. And there is some element of you got to take all of the off-the-field baggage that comes with Aaron Rodgers. But I said, put all that to the side. Forget about that. I just don't think Aaron Rodgers is good enough on the football field to justify, if you are a team that is real close to being good, rolling the dice on him at this point. And Dex said, I got a team for you, Rob Brown. Let me see if I can win you over. Fire away. And he said, what about the Indianapolis Colts? I said, wait a minute. They got Anthony Richardson. And then my producer played this clip from the head coach of the Colts, Shane Steichen.
You guys and Chris Ballard talking about the open competition at quarterback. Are you as confident in Anthony Richardson today as you were 1 year ago today?
Yeah, I think with anything, we're just looking for the consistency. I said that the other day in my press conference is we're looking for that consistent player. Obviously, going into year 3, been banged up the last 2 years, and, playing the full 17-game season is going to be critical for his success and being consistent with his process day in and day out.
Lonzo, are we qualifying that as the old vote of confidence?
I keep hearing the phrase. I guess it's a phrase, 2-word phrase. Word salad. Yeah, and I can't get it out of my head today for some reason. And that sounds like word salad.
Do you still have confidence in Anthony Richardson? Well, going into year 3, we think it'll be good. Yeah, it'd be good for him to play all 17 games. He's QB1. That is beneficial, right? Listening to that. And again, I may be overreading it here. I may be reading into a controversy that doesn't exist, but it sounds to me like Shane Steichen might be kind of giving the old dreaded vote of confidence to Anthony Richardson. And we all know what the vote of confidence means.
So no chance that he would go to the Titans? I mean, Will Levis, you get confidence in him? I don't know that everyone does. I think there are places that he could end up.
I think with the Titans, because that's the other team Deck floated.
Especially now that someone decided to stay at home with the Rams.
The other team that Deck floated was the Titans. I said no to that one. And I said no to that one because of 2 reasons. Number one, I'm not done with Will Levis. Like, Will Levis had some meltdowns, but Will Levis also had a few moments of genius last year. I'm not done with Will Levis. And I also look at the Tennessee Titans, and much like I said with B.Y. at Carolina, and Tiki Barber, guy who obviously knows ball, said, when you drop a young quarterback into a dumpster fire of a franchise, why the hell would you expect positive results, right? Why would you expect anybody to go into a garbage franchise and be able to make something out of it? The answer is you shouldn't. I believe the Tennessee Titans have been that the last couple of years. That's why A.J. Brown was an Eagle this year. That's why. So I'm not done with Will Levis. I'm going to give the Titans an opportunity to get their metaphorical bleep together and get it turned around before I write off Will Levis. And on top of that, I still got Will Levis on a rookie contract versus Aaron Rodgers, who even if I gave I don't think he's taking vet minimum. So you're looking at, let's say, what's conservative but fair for Aaron Rodgers? $35 million a year? Matt Stafford just signed for his 50 or whatever it was. Aaron Rodgers getting $37 million a year. That's a lot of cap the Tennessee Titans don't have to build around Will Levis.
Well, the cap just went up. So you got some extra cap money that maybe you weren't accounting for that can make you go out and get a guy like that.
Or go get you another guy to work with Will Levis. There's going to be a lot of free agents available. We got to get to Debo here in just a second, too. Running out of time. So Indianapolis feels like maybe a spot because they've got talent. They've got a coach in Shane Steichen, who I like a lot. I am to the point that I think Anthony Richardson has all of the physical tools necessary to be a great quarterback and none of the mental ones. I don't think he's got it up top. I know that we put it in the past and he sat out and he's good now, but guy who taps himself out of a game that, by the way, was for the division lead after a long third down, guy who taps himself out of a game, that's an old leopard and spot scenario. That guy can say, I sat down and I learned a lot. I don't believe you, dog. I don't believe you. I don't think if you're the dude that finds himself, I'm tired, I'm tapping myself out on third and medium in a game that could very well win or lose this division, but I'm tired, I need a breather, coach. I don't think that's not a mentality you just stop having.
Yeah, and that's not really it's not about the fans that are upset because they are. This is about the guys you playing with.
Yeah, that's just about football. That's just a football thing.
When you see that, you're like, I don't. Can we find somebody else?
That's not a guy. If you have that mentality, you don't. Maybe you have some sort of like grand revelation one day, but I'll tell you, like the stuff that makes me, it's not easily shaken. It's just not. So I'm not saying he can't ever do it, but I don't think he learned in like a 6-week span how to not be a guy who taps out of a game. So with that, plus the vote of confidence here from Shane Steichen, I think the Colts' job might open up. They got talent. They're close. They could be in that division with the right guy, and they are running out of quarterback options because it's effectively now Sam Darnold or Aaron Rodgers. And while Sam Darnold just had a year with the Vikings, Aaron Rodgers is going to be cheaper by like $15, $20 million, I think. I could end up being wrong about that, but I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come cheaper than Sam Darnold this year, coming off of getting cut outright by the Jets. Aaron Rodgers to the Colts could be a real possibility. And that throws everything into chaos. Speaking of chaos, how about Debo going to the Commanders for a 5th-round pick? Now, I got to ask because we were out and about when that...
I made it to 947. Thought it was going to make it through to what the X, but it did not.
Sorry to kill it off in the last minute. You just fire it and you can ask me about it and then we can carry it from there.
Nah, we don't need to go that early.
Okay. So, Debo Samuel goes to Washington to play with the Commanders, who are not anymore because they're good now, with Jaden Daniels, last year's Rookie of the Year pick. You're welcome. For a 5th-round pick. Debo's got 1 year left on the contract. He's got 1 year left. That's why it was only a 5th-round pick, not a second or a third or a second and a fifth or whatever. That's why it was a 5th-round pick. I'm worried. Like a lot of people I was talking to on Saturday when this news dropped are like, uh-oh, look out. Here come the Commanders. Here come the Commanders. Here come the Commanders. Why is Debo gone from San Francisco? Because he blew up. I like the guy. Guy's obviously infinitely talented, but he blew up. I got him out here putting hands on my long snapper, shoving my guy in the throat. I got him out here getting into it with the head coach. I got him out here in San Francisco in the Bay Area, causing some major problems for that team. When he goes to Washington, he's going to want to be the star. But Washington's got Scary Terry, who was a monster last year. Jaden Daniels is now the face of that franchise after 1 year. Debo's not taking that away. I hope I'm wrong, because if I am, Jaden Daniels is going to win the MVP next year. But I'm not calling that one officially yet like I did Rookie of the Year. But he'll be in the mix. If I'm wrong and Debo's fine, this Commanders team is very scary. This Commanders team may have just put the Dallas Cowboys into the cellar in the NFC East. They are going to be a monster if Debo is him next year. But if Debo is not him next year, if he's going to freak out and have those same issues next year, go through the same breakdown that he went through last year in San Francisco, this could get real bad for Washington. Granted, I'm willing to conduct the experiment for a 5th-round pick, and I'm certainly willing to conduct the experiment for a 5th-round pick if Debo isn't demanding a new contract this year. If he's willing to play this one out, even if I risk losing him. If he plays the way that he would need to play to get a contract extension next year, then we go, hey, we're a Super Bowl team now, Debo. Why don't you stick around and let's win one together? If he doesn't play well enough for the extension, it costs you a 5th-round pick. This was a hell of a move for the Washington Commanders.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
He plays like he can play and has no more drama and stays healthy.
That's a scary team.
Yes, it is. All right, the first thing it's Xing is Myrtle Beach.
Slay.
I don't. I do know. There are. Is that where the wildfires are?
Yeah, it's on fire.
Yeah. I'm kind of. I don't know, man. Like, I'm emotionally exhausted. You know, like I'm just. And now, although when it was over in California, it's like, this is tragic. This is sad. Let's do what we can to help. And then you wake up 2 weeks later, and it's like, oh, our state too. I am freaking tired, you guys.
I don't know. The West Coast was on fire. Now the East Coast is on fire. It's just like a coincidence. I don't know.
No, I'm not going to go down that path because I'll say things that are going to get me yelled at. I'm just going to say I'm freaking tired.
Yeah. Well, you always say things that get yelled at. Hopefully they get that thing under control because I do enjoy visiting that place.
I got to get over there.
And,
I haven't been there
There are
yet.
people who live there, of course, that are losing their property and stuff, and you feel for them. All right. The next thing that's Xing is The Los Angeles Lakers.
The LA Lakers, trending because of what we talked about with LeBron earlier?
Trending because of how many wins they've had in a row.
I'm sorry. Let's go back 3 weeks when Luka got traded. Who was it that came in here on Tuesday, because we were off that Monday, and said, y'all, the Lakers, when they figure out that 1-2 punch, Luka on the ball, LeBron James going back to playing off ball, which is his natural position, and he gets to play the cut and slash guy and not the assist guy. This team, and I'll say it again now, is going to the Western Conference Championships. I'm not saying they're going to beat Oklahoma City. I'm not saying that they're going to win the NBA Finals, because I do think Boston's still better. But the LA Lakers, I took a bet the next day. The LA Lakers will make it to the NBA's Western Conference Championship
By the way,
game.
I'm not an NPC here. I said I agree with you. I was excited about the trade. We had a long conversation, but you always forget about me.
Well, I don't
when
want
you talk
to
about it.
speak for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could speak for the show.
Lonzo and I, this show said.
There you go.
Luka on the
that's
one.
all. I mean, because if you don't say that, it makes it sound like I'm disagreeing with you, which I wasn't.
Luka on the one. Braun playing off the ball as a cutter slasher and a secondary. LeBron James is a secondary option. LeBron's averaging 26 a game, and he's your second option. This team's going to the Western Conference
Remember
Championship.
when we talked about this, and Austin Reeves as the third guy is really not. I mean, he's pretty good. He
Austin,
really is.
if Luka and Braun aren't there, it's because somebody faded a defense in their direction to take them out. Austin Reeves is already picking up points per game because of this. This team's going to the Western Conference Championship.
I'm trying to figure out who's better at the long pass, Kevin Love or Luka. Kevin Love was really good back in the day.
Kevin Love was good at it.
Him throwing those long passes to LeBron was amazing.
I agree. Have you watched Luka throw the quarterback pass from under the basket on a streaker? It's just like it doesn't even throw it. He just kind of flicks it.
I saw Kevin Love do the same thing. I did. I know it's been a while. But Kevin Love was brought up the other day, and I was excited about that because I think
that's more than fair.
I think their passing is comparable. All right, the next thing that's Xing and overshadowed but should not have been is Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill beat the absolute out of Naomi. I mean, beat the crap. I'm trying to think of the last time that there was a beatdown like that in a ring that made me go, I think I've had enough of this.
Yeah, I mean, to the point, again, and they kept going back to showing Bianca stuck in the pod, just cry. Yeah, I mean, yeah. And then had to wrestle after that.
Here's my twist. Bianca did it.
Yeah, I think she was behind it.
Bianca did it.
But everyone wants that to be. What if she wasn't?
What if it is Naomi? It's still a good story. I only have one issue with all this, which is I hope Jade took the time to get better as a wrestler.
Yeah, me too.
If she got better as a wrestler, we got a hell of a three-way story going here. If she did not, it's going to be bad.
All right, the final thing is Xing, because we had a little extra time, is Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney and her fiance broke up last week, and I'm just going to say, as we wrap up the show, some of y'all got to be less creepy on the internet.
Yeah, I was going to...
Some of y'all got to be less creepy on the internet.
Don't click on Sydney Sweeney, because I saw some stuff I was not expecting.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where I may have to have a conversation with engineering, because there's some creepy people out there.
Show prep.
She's pretty and everything. I just clicked on what was trending, but still.
Some of y'all need to be less creepy on the internet. That's it for us. Thanks for being here. Hope you enjoyed the show. Come back tomorrow. We got another 4 hours in the chamber, and they might, probably, maybe, we'll see, be better than this one. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. Have a great rest of your Monday. See you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on The Rob Brown Show and The Fan Upstate.
The vibes are unmatched. Slay.
Two of my
Slay.
All right, boys and girls, Robbie B's got a jet on the quick today. I appreciate all of you being here. Okay, weird. I got nothing. You're all spectacular people. Tell your friends about us. We're trying to be rich and famous. Have a great day. Slay.